Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
What's up, everybody? Hump Day on February 18th of January already. What's going on, everybody? We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. You got Gunner, you got the Pork Chop, you got myself. I am Rob Ellis. What's up, fellas? How we doing? People don't know that nickname, Barrett. They think I'm making fun. That's your nickname, man. That's old school.
What it was, man. That's what it was, man.
Should be White Castle.
Well, you know, it was given to me by Russ Grimm. You know, one of the original Hogs. You know, I played
Pretty good guy to give you. That was your position coach, right?
Right. Well, that's where the pork chops came from, you know, because original Hogs. But, you know, I was one of those guys that he kept me on the squad just because I was like more so like a coach for the younger guys than really a player for him. You know, he knew that he could just, you know, usually when you go into a game, you usually dress 7 to 8 offensive linemen. You just a guy that plays tackle, you just a guy that plays guard, and usually a guy that plays center. Well, I played all three, so they would just dress me. That way they could dress on game day. You only get 46 guys you can have on the game day roster, and they could, if they needed to go in and dress another linebacker or another receiver or another DB, they could, you know, dress 2 additional people because I played all 3 positions. Now we'd be screwed if
right.
2 offensive line went down, but you know, chance that happened. It's not, you know, it's slim but none. But since I played all 3. He would dress me, so he kept me around because of that. But for some reason, man, he just started calling me pork chop when I came into work. And I said, hey, you know, I came in and I was working out, and I got up there like maybe 15 minutes before the meeting. As soon as I walk in, he said, hey, pork chop, go grab this tape for me. Like, where did this come from? Pork chop. All right. All of a sudden, bam, that's when everybody started calling me after that.
Well, I will admit, in my time that I have known you, I have had a few choice nicknames for you, but none of them can be repeated.
You're not allowed to say
family show. Hey, did you ever actually play center in a game?
Yeah, I played. Actually, it was against Cleveland. I played center, guard, and tackle all in one game.
Damn.
What?
Yeah.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, our starting right guard went down, so I went in for him. Then all of a sudden, the starting left tackle came down, so they brought somebody in, and I went to the right tackle position. Then the right guard got the right guard. He felt better, so we came back in. The center went out, so I went to center, and they put the guy that was at right guard. They put him at tackle, and I went to center.
Jeez, man.
So it was.
Did you guys win that game? Do you remember?
It was a blowout. That's why he didn't mind put me in there.
Okay.
It was a blowout. We were killing them. You know what I'm saying?
I like it. What's up, everybody in the chat section? A-Dog, Forrest, Eric, Ocam's, Razor, Jim G, T-Car, Chris D, Forrest Hill, Lil Tone, Jim G, Raptor Strike, Eagles 0536, whoever I missed. I apologize, but that's everybody I'm seeing right now in the chat section. Hope you guys are doing great. Thanks for hanging out. Everybody streaming. Everybody listening, all good here on our end. All right, Eric has a question. Who has the best bald head, B. Brooks or D. Gunn? Oh, man.
Well, I'll say B. Brooks. I'll say definitely B. Brooks.
Well, D. Gunn, you're not bald, so that's the
Gunner's got a little left up there, man.
Well, see, what I refer to myself as follically challenged. I've earned these stripes.
I hear you, man.
Kids, and their grandkids, dogs, you name it.
Barrett's the rare guy who actually has hair but shaves it anyway.
Yeah,
right.
Usually,
that's my hairline right here.
Yeah, Barrett's got the killer hairline, man.
So I got to go shave because my hairline actually goes. That's it right there.
Yeah.
It's all in. It's all in there.
Exactly.
He still got it, man. So my politically correct answer is both. They both have amazing bald heads.
Bald domes.
Yes. What's up, Fitness Rebel?
Rob, maybe one day you will join us.
I'm getting there quick. I'm trying. No, I'm not trying, but I'm getting there anyway. Telling you.
Oh man, hey man, we have to pay Chris D a stipend, man. Chris D,
I love Chris D.
is loyal in
That's
terms of every day telling people to hit the like button. You know, Rob Barrett, I think you two should take some of the money you make and pay her a stipend.
Derek's check is in the mail, Chris. It's
you try to cash that check, you go to jail.
He'll send you some ribs. He'll send you some wings. He'll send you some pulled pork.
I've seen food. Yeah. Because that check, I write her a check. That check gonna bounce from Hawaii to Maine. You say that?
No, but we do appreciate it. Yeah, and if you could follow Chris's lead, hit that like button. We do it. It's good. It's good for the show. We don't just do it like the whole like button. I don't fully understand it all the way. I don't either. It's not just us like, oh, we like to see likes. It's, patting ourselves on the back. It's not, there's a reason for it. The more likes we get, the more access we get, the more people get to see the show. So that's just so you know. It's not just, it's not just we're being vain and tell us how great we are. No, it's not like that. So it does. Yeah, there's Xander can explain it better to us, but I don't know all the intricacies of it. But yes, that's a function of hitting that like button. It's good.
See, and if Xander tried to explain it to us, I'd be sitting there going, huh?
That's why I don't even ask.
What'd you just say?
The eyes rolled up in the head kind of situation.
When he tries to explain metrics and stuff, and he's very thorough in how he explains it.
Yep.
I'm still sitting there going, because we've spent all our lives talking about TV ratings.
And,
TV still trying to get used to this YouTube metric stuff. And I'm like, you know what, Xander? You just wasted a couple of minutes of your life you're never going to get back, because that lesson you just gave me did not stick, man. I don't know what the heck you're talking about. If you all I know is, Xander, if you like it, I love it. That's all I need to
know. Speaking of I liked hearing this news yesterday out of Eagles practice. So no limitations whatsoever, not even showing up on the injury report, was Jalen Hurts. So
all right, let's go.
That's good, man. Right? All you wanted was progress. That's why you wanted the bye week. You bought him another week, and it seems like all systems a go here when it comes to Jalen against the Giants on Saturday, man. So that's good stuff right there.
All systems going to be going anyways, man. I mean, it's like we keep saying, there is no tomorrow. It's win or go home. I hate to have him sitting next to me watching the game at Chicky and Pete's, but if you don't win, that's exactly where you're going to be at. So you being in these type of situations, you got to go all out. You got to throw everything at this game. Nothing is held back. If they can run it, they need to run it. So it's win or go home. So that's the
no tomorrow.
Right.
It's no tomorrow, Rock. Yeah.
But I mean, look at it. It's the way the tournament is. It's not like basketball where you get 4 games. 7 games. You win 4. You're a champion. It's not like baseball. You get 7 games. It's either win or go home.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's not like soccer where you can lose and then you down a loser's bracket and you maybe be able to do this and do that. No, It's none of that. It's none of that. You just
100%.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. Awesome. Appreciate everybody. Yeah, thank you.
Everybody. Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I think to have him without limitations, without restrictions, I also just think I don't think he would go into the game concerned, because I think he's a focused tunnel vision dude. He's not hearing noise or any of that. But it's also got to make him feel good, like this, to know that thing is feeling better, and I'm not going to be restricted in any way, shape, or form. And we're going to get back to seeing the Jalen Hurts that we, saw pre-Bears game, about a month ago. That guy who was in every conversation as the league MVP. That's.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
It's not a hope, guys. He is.
Yeah, but Barrett, as you know, and that's part of the game, I hope he gets through the game unscathed, but you take one good shot, anything can happen. I mean, it's the way it is. Sprained ankle, MCL sprain, ACL, you know how it is. You get out there, it feels good. Yeah, it feels good. I'm just hoping that he can avoid taking direct hits. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I wanted him to avoid taking hits, even in the Giants game. But it's just the nature of the game that we play, man. It's always going to be consequences and reproductions, and consequences and reproductions they're not always negative. They're also positive. His ability to go out there and make things happen is also a consequence and a repercussion of what's going on.
I'm just saying, if he plays his game, if they call his game that we've seen most of the season, it will entail design runs. And I'm saying, we've talked about how we saw him take some direct shots we talked about how Malata told us that, you know, that he said, hey man, just get me up, you know, just help me up. That's all I'm saying. I hope
He
you
didn't
can
say that. He didn't say just help me up.
What did he say?
Give me the
get me the bleep up.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm just saying. You know me. I got to keep the clean version. I got people to answer to, bro. I ain't going out like that. You know?
But here's also the other thing to keep in mind. In that game, I'm talking about the real game, not that last game, whatever that was, where the Giants didn't play anybody and the Eagles were half playing, whatever. I'd throw that game out the window. But the game that counted, go back to week 14, that the Eagles won 48-22. You know, they ran for 253 yards.
Absolutely.
Okay. And Jalen himself, 7 for 77.
Yep.
So if he's back to being that threat with his legs, and they actually give the ball to Miles Sanders, you know, Miles went 17 for 144.
That's right. That's right.
He should. This is the second worst run defense in the NFL going into the playoffs. You should be able to pound the rock.
Stop right there.
I know. Should.
Stop
I
right
know.
there. Stop.
Should.
They played some of the worst run defenses in the league the latter half of the year, and we sat here each week talking about,
I know.
it was a run game. What happened to the run game? I don't know if it was the adjustments. The defenses continuously trying to slow this team. I don't know what it was. I still haven't been able to figure that out. But consecutive weeks, we said, what happened to the run game?
But guys, we also got to look at it like this. I'm by no means making an excuse for him.
For who?
But for this coaching staff. But I'm like, all right, what do you want us to do? Everybody's saying, well, we don't need to run them on these RPOs or the read options.
That is true.
So we're throwing the ball. But I mean, I already heard what I needed to hear from Shane Steichen, and I need to hear from Coach Sirianni. They were like, look, we knew after the playoff game we played against Brady that we need more to our offense than run the ball. We already know we can run the ball. That's always there. That's an ace in our back pocket. But we needed to make sure we have a passing game. Well, hell, you know you could pass the ball. We know you got 2,000 yards, over 1,000-yard receivers. We know that. We know you can do that. We know you got a good tight end you can throw to at any time, whether it's a screen play or it's a check down or a nod route in the middle of the field. We know that you can get to them. We need you to check down. I mean, we know you can check down to the backs. We just need to run the ball. Now, this is where you play playoff. Playoff football is running the ball consistently. That's that's what you do during the playoffs. That's what you do starting in December is run the rock.
Wouldn't an established run game open up that passing game even more so?
Well, they do that. They think like Andy, man. They think like Andy. Andy used to run past the ball to open up the
set
run.
up the run.
It's pass get a lead then run, and that was Andy. That was Joe Banner. That was Howard believes in that. That's what Jeffrey Lurie believes in. I wonder if they know. Of course they know this, but when earlier in the year when they had to put games away, it was through the run game. I don't know. I don't know what approach, honestly, that they're going to take early in this thing. I would love to see it, but I don't know if that's going to be the case.
You don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like my coaches tell me, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, we don't know what Martindale's going to do to try to counter certain things and force them to alter what they're doing. We don't know.
What you do know about Martindale is that he's going to adapt to whoever he's playing. He's not a cookie cutter guy. Like he didn't blitz. Derek, you pointed this out earlier in the week. He didn't blitz a ton last week, even though that's his personality and the thing that he generally will do the most. But he saw that he didn't have to do that against the Vikings, and it proved the right move. Obviously.
Speaking of that last game, did you guys see the video that's out there on Twitter of Dexter Lawrence? They got game footage of him. He's going up against the Vikings center, and at one point he tells the Vikings center, "Man, you hug me more than my girlfriend." Like, wow. He was talking trash all game.
Well, he also said you signed up for this.
Yeah,
damn, man.
Well,
Lawrence is a beast.
Well, when you look what he also said, told his mom, "No, you can't come down because they're vicious."
Yeah, I will say this: there's been like 3 different Giants who have echoed that theme, Barrett. I like that because the fans and the intimidation of coming here is in their head a little bit.
Bro, you got to think about it, man. I never knew what it was. I got spoiled, getting drafted to Philly and seeing how the fans treated me. I was used to it. Even if, I can remember losing one time, they were throwing batteries at me. I'm like, what? I'm on your team. They were throwing batteries at us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You give them a terrible product, they're going to let you know.
Yeah.
So I understood what it was to make sure that this fan base would make sure they're going to give you their all. They expect the same from you. So I mean, I know that. So once I left, I didn't know the magnitude of what it is to be in Philadelphia with a different colors jersey on. You know, you're going into hostile territory. They're meeting you at the bus.
Right.
They're going to make sure that you know that they're in the house. And, you know, once you leave and you come back, I really got a sense of what it was all about, what real home field advantage really is.
Yeah.
You know, I was faking everywhere else I went. It was faking. You know, these aren't real fans.
You were
faking.
spoiled. Yeah, you were ruined.
Like, I'm telling you the truth, like Pittsburgh fans, they love you. You know what I'm saying?
They're a very loyal fan base. They are.
It's like Green Bay. Yep.
The Green Bay too. You can have losing and everything. They're still, hey, you will get them next time. You know, yada yada yada. Yeah. You know, they're still gonna love you. You know, I can still go to Pittsburgh even right now and eat free and everything else because that's how their fan base is. Man, I can tell you what, Philly, you got to come with it. You know what I'm saying? If they don't like it, they look, man. We pay your check, bro. You know what I'm saying? We buying these tickets. We're paying you a check. You better give us a product we like. I'll tell you what happened to me when the first time, my first year here. And no, it was my second year in the league. And I already knew how the fans were. I'm used to it now.
Right.
We started going to this restaurant right around the corner from where the stadium is, over by Packer Avenue, Italian restaurant.
I know which one.
It's
go not in there anymore. There's a different ownership now.
Oh, okay. So I go in.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I go in, sitting down. First couple, we went there like 3 weeks in a row. We went there. We had 3 home games with 3 weeks in a row. We left, and we were 3 games gone. We were 2 games away, and then our next game was a home game. We come back. We had just lost to Dallas. We go into the restaurant. We sit down, and the older woman comes, and she starts cussing me out. I know it was an Italian. It was an Italian. I know them cuss words. You know, I knew a couple of them sound like English. Italian too. You know what I'm saying?
The one that starts with an F sounds like the English.
Right. So she was cussing me. I'm looking at her like, yo, what is this? You know, I got my kids with me too. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, what's the deal? The son came out and grabbed his grandma. I'm like, no, mom, come with me. Or mom or grandma, one of the two. Come back here. He comes back, man, I apologize. The meal's on me, man. I apologize. I'm like, yo, what did I do? I mean, did I disrespect anyone? No, man, it ain't that. So what's going on? She put 15,000 on the game and lost the 15,000.
Whose fault is that?
She was letting you know that she wasn't pleased in the outcome of the game. I said, oh. So anytime an old lady, this lady had to been like 75, 80 years old, betting 15 grand on a Dallas game, you know the fan base is real and rabid over Dallas week and even the Giants week, bro.
That's a nice welcome to town right there, man. It's no joke.
I told her, like, look here, man. Number one, who told you to put the money down? Who told you to bet? Number two, is that your table over there? If I were you, I'd get there real quick.
Oh yeah.
No, it was a worker, wasn't it? It was it
was the mom that she was actually the owner.
Yeah, she's the owner.
The owner?
Yeah.
Hey, you get back. You know what? I don't come in your place berating you on your time. Hey, I'm here to enjoy a meal.
Bro, you'd have said something like that. You probably
Spills is giving you some of the words that she may have been throwing at you.
Man, look,
right.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but yes.
Put it like this.
What does that mean, Dan? What does it mean?
Do we want a translation from Dan?
Why not? They say everything else on this show.
All right.
But dog, I'm just saying, put it like this. You really don't want you saying that, D-Gun, because you might be swimming with the fishes, bro.
Yeah. I'm with you. Like, there are certain let the old lady rant, you know, just kind of deal with it. And then you move on. Basically. Yeah.
Right.
That's the gist. Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, look, man, I ain't worried about it because I make one phone call to somebody. Big Dom, I need your help. That's all I got to do.
And Dom would have said this. Dom would have said that. Hey, man, let's just let that be.
Yeah, let that go. There are other battles you want to.
Right.
All I do is make one phone call. I'm good.
Yeah.
You be good, but then, you know, Dom has to report to somebody too now.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. You know, Dom falls in the category of people who ain't playing with a full deck. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But see, for some reason, Dom is my boy. You know, Dom. I can't even begin to tell you some of the stuff Big Dom bailed me out of.
Bro, Dom's my dude too, man. I mean, I love Dom, man. I
And
can call Dom right now.
Dom, I need your help.
Right.
What you need, D-Gun? Boom. Done.
Bro, one time I said, look, man, I'm like, I can't believe this, man. I got to get these tickets. Called Dom. Dom was like, hey, you should have came to me in the first place. So he can get stuff done. But sometimes, you know, just like another example, I'm a rookie. This is my first year in the league. I'm thinking all this stuff of like Scarface and all that stuff, you know, or the Italian mafia stuff. I'm thinking all that stuff was just TV stuff they had on, you know, you see on TV. I'm from St. Louis. I don't know. I'm from the Midwest. I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know anything about an offer I can't refuse. I don't know nothing about that.
Yep.
Bruh, Molino, his aunt had passed away. And it was the day before a game. We had to fly out, and I stayed in the same building, the condominium building, as Charlie Garner. Okay. So when Charlie like, hey man, I'll be ready in such a time. I said, bro, you got to be ready before that. You know, I got to go pick the chicken up because I'm a rookie. I got to pick the chicken up from Popeyes and get to the plane. He said, man, I got you. Ride with me. I mean, I'm riding with you. You know, if I'm late, you late. I said, dog, you can be late. I can't be late. Come on, man. Well, if you got to pay a fine, I pay the fine. I'm like, no, dog, just come on, man. Mm-hmm. Long story long. Boom, he leaves. We go get the chicken. I get the chicken. I'm driving to the airport. I get on 95, and there's a road you can get off right there before we go to 95. You get off. We have the private place that we fly out.
Yep.
There.
Oh,
so
yeah.
His aunt had passed away, and it was a long.
You talking about Joey Merlino? Yeah.
Yeah, the boss. Yeah.
Well, reputed, not
reputed.
Alleged.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. You know,
let's be careful.
All I know is. Yeah, exactly.
Let's be real careful.
Right, hey, my fault.
Yeah.
Look, so it's a carcade. This carcade is probably about a half a mile long. That's how long carcade is. And they're going slow, and they're right there at our exit. And we're sitting stopped on the highway, waiting for the carcade to go by so we can get off at that exit.
Right.
I'm just sitting there, and I'm stopped. And it's going by, and it's like 5 minutes. I'm like, man, don't worry about it, man. I was like, you know, what are we going to do, man? He said, man, don't worry about it. Just sit here. All I did was turn the wheel like this. When I turned the wheel like this, the whole carcade stopped simultaneously. I'm like,
oh, no.
3 cars up. One door opens. He gets out. He looks. I do like this. Charlie does like this. You know what I'm saying? I did like this. My apologies. I wasn't turning. He gets back in the car, and they start going again. It was like in concert. Everybody stopped. It went down the road. Finally, after the last one leaves, it goes by. We go down. We get there. This is like, it took like 5 minutes for this to happen. We get to the plane. We run up the stairs, get on the plane. I get up there. Ray Rhodes is cussing me out. What the F is wrong with you? Yada, yada. I said, Coach, man, I'm sorry I'm late. Bro, I'm not worried about you being late. Man, you almost died, man. Why would you try to turn in Molino's, family's carcade? I'm like,
Ray knew what was going on.
They had called him.
Oh my God.
And let him know.
You know about Joey Merlino, man?
I didn't know anything about that, bro.
Hey, I learned that story real quick. Short after I got to Philly in '97, man. I was like, he was still in the news for something. I'm like, who's Joey Merlino? And they started telling me, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what?
I thought it was. I really thought that it was like just on TV, man. I didn't know anything about that, bro. I'm telling you, I'm from Midwest, man. St. Louis we didn't have the mob. I didn't see the mob like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? I know anything about prohibition and all that. So I thought that was all just TV.
I know.
Well, see, I didn't see it a lot being in Milwaukee, but I knew a lot about it because Chicago's an hour and a half down the road, and it was still big in Chicago when I was coming up. You know, so I knew what was what. You know, you knew where to go, where not to go when you were in Chicago, man. I'm looking at all these comments. These comments are ridiculous, man. Like William Stark, concrete shoes. D-Gun, Deion Walker. D-Gun got the Ozark cartel behind him. You ain't lying about that, bro. Let's see. He said, Jason Bennett, y'all sound like rich thugs. John Dickerson, Dom knows where all D-Gun's dead bodies are buried. That's true. I tell you what, when we get Dom on the show, just give you a little tip. I want one of you two to ask Big Dom. Dom, what does D-Gun know? And Dom will tell you, like he said, for the last 15 years, D-Gun knows where all the bodies are buried.
It's true. It is true.
What's this other one here? what was the other dude? I mean, I missed it. Doggone it. Hey, Barrett, South Philly. My uncle Tunis will help.
Oh God. Yeah. So pretty wild, man. So the good thing, here's part of what we're going to do today. Coming up at 12:30. We're going to remind everybody just how good the Eagles are. I think we've forgotten because there was a couple of lull weeks when it was Gardner Minshew, that last game. There was a bye week. It's been a while. So I'm going to give you some statistical reminders of how good the Eagles are. And on the flip side of that, some areas where the Giants struggle a little bit and where the Vikings struggle. And you're saying, what difference does that make what the Vikings do? Because they're done. Well, it might explain a little bit of last week. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to dive back into that. At 1:30, Paul Hudrick's going to join us for Liberty Ballers. We got to start recognizing what's going on here, guys. We have actually our show, but like the Sixers are playing really good basketball, really good. They win again last night against the Clippers. Embiid has been straight up dominant. Like there's no other way to put it.
Yep.
So we're dive into what he's doing, what Maxi's doing off the bench now. Really interesting anecdote last night during the broadcast of the game. Maxi volunteered to come off the bench. Said, look, Doc, there's a lot going on. I get it. You know, don't worry about me. I'll come off the bench if you need me to. Wow. Which tells you that's a 22-year-old doing that. Like shows you what kind of teammate he is and how mature the kid is. So we'll talk about that for sure. We're going to dive into a lot of NFL, coaching interviews and whatnot. And we're going to get into the AFC matchups, the Chiefs and the Jags, and then the Bills and the Bengals. So we'll dive into that as well. I do want to touch on this before we hit a timeout here. I don't know, you guys familiar with the Ivan Provorov story from last night. So the Flyers were playing. Flyers actually played well. But prior to last night's game, they were having an LGBTQ night last night, a pride night, which they've done before and they've done around the league. And a lot of the Flyers players are very active with that. And in the warm-ups, they had, Pride Flyers sweaters that they were wearing. And I think some guys had their stick taped up and all those kind of things. So, I see some of the reports early because Provorov is a fanatic about his pregame routine. He's always out there doing the same thing. He's very habitual. He likes to be out there and all that. He wasn't out there. Now, the first speculation was, does that mean he's getting traded? You guys know how that is when there's some phony... Yeah. Oh, so-and-so is scratched, he's got a sore ankle, when that's not the case anyway. So he's not out there, and we come to find out he didn't go out there because he refused to wear the sweater, have the stick decorated, etc. Said after the game that it was for religious purposes. He is a Russian Orthodox. Russian Orthodox is his religion. So he refused. The team did not punish him, did not cite him in any way. I think he played the most minutes of any Flyer last night. So it didn't impact that in any way, shape, or form. But, naturally it caused a stir. And there are people that are upset at him. They're upset that the organization in the league didn't come down on him harder. So just throw it out there. Where do we fall on this, guys? I'll take the first crack. Look, I think that it's obviously his right. You can't force someone in this setting to go against what their beliefs are. If that's what he believes, if that's where he's at, he has every right to do it, just like someone has every right to take a knee whether you're protesting racial injustice, social injustice, whatever. I feel the same way about that I feel about this. It is his constitutional right to not go out there for that if he wants to do it. Could I see there maybe being some pushback from some of his teammates who support it? Yeah, I mean, that could happen in any work setting. There could be an issue. But does he have to do it? No, in my opinion, he doesn't have to do it. And I don't think it's within the team's rights to punish him. I'll give you one other little piece of context to this. So back in 2016, John Tortorella, whose son is an Army Ranger, by the way, said that if anybody doesn't stand for the national anthem, they wouldn't play for me that night, is what he said. Now, fast forward 4 years later to 2020, he said, I rethought my stance, considering everything that's been going on in our country. And this was the height of, a lot of stuff going on as we all lived through it. And he said that That's no longer my stance. You have every right to do what you want, and I will not bench you for that. Anyway, I'm just giving you context of Tortorella as a coach and some other incidents. So the floor is whoever wants it.
First of all, should not have been a story, and unfortunately became this blown up story. Secondly, straight from his mouth, I respect everybody and I respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion. What's wrong with that? That should have been the end of the story, period. Isn't that what America is based on? Freedom of speech, freedom of choice.
Right.
So what's wrong with that?
Freedom of religion.
That's freedom of religion. That's his right, his choice. I have no problem with it. But all of a sudden it became a hot take thanks to the invention of social media. If there was no social media, there would be no major story about this. It probably would have been swept under the carpet, and rightfully so. If you want to believe believe in leprechauns, so be it. That's your choice. So why anybody coming down on him just because we don't abide by your narrative, whatever your narratives are in life? We're wrong. No, who's to say you're not wrong? You see what I'm saying? I don't understand people who love just to swarm in like a SWAT team and just jump on anything and anybody. I don't understand that. It's like these people are they're perfect. Everything they do is perfect, and they just hide in the weeds on social media and can't wait to pounce in on somebody else because you disagree with them. It's not what this country is about. That's your personal belief.
Joseph says he has the right not to violate his religious beliefs just as much as people have the right to express their sexual freedoms. Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
In a nutshell.
Absolutely.
Whether you agree with it or not.
Well, exactly. He didn't say anything counterintuitive to the movement. He didn't say anything counterintuitive to people's choice. He just said his choice was that I personally am not going to do it because it violates what I feel is my religious beliefs. Now, I mean, that's on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
you have every right not to like what he says or be on board, but that's your right, just like it's his right not to get involved or
absolutely. So, when you look at the situation, man, it's one that I can understand both sides of the story, all three sides of the story, whether you like it, you don't like it, or it makes no difference. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, as long as he didn't try to press anybody's narrative on anything else, nobody could press anybody else's narrative on what they believe and what they want to do.
Man,
you don't have that right. You know what I'm saying? That's when you violate rights. That's when it's a problem. There is no way in which you could walk around this situation by us, and we have to at least talk about it. Should we talk about it? Well, I mean, it depends on
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about it. Like, I think it's fine to have a healthy discussion about it. And again, I respect people, their views. If you feel differently, that's fine. And again, I get where the LGBTQ community feels like they have been underrepresented, in certain ways. I totally understand that. 100%. And I think that, again, the important thing too is the Flyers and other teams have made a real strong effort to try to be inclusive and try to support. This is one person's stance and the way that he feels. And he does have that right to do that without being benched, or just like I said earlier, just like Tortorella, realized that he, the way he was viewing it, was not the right way to view it. And he changed his stance. People can evolve. People can look at things differently as time goes on.
There's a lot of issues in America that need to be discussed on a daily basis. A lot of pressing issues in this country. There's a lot of good things about this country. There's a lot of bad things about this country. This should not have even been a topic. He was very respectful in how he addressed it, how he defended his stance. And I don't care whether you agree with him or not, everybody should step back and say, you know what? I respect that man for what he believes in, because that's what we've been weaned on. That's what we grew up on. I always tell people when you have differences, are always trying to get in your bed. Why are you always in my Kool-Aid? You don't even know what flavor it is. Right. See what I'm saying? Right. And I don't understand why people feel the need to always be in everybody else's business. I've just never understood that. Are your lives that mundane that you can't wait to pounce on any and everything out there? Really? That's how you live your life? That's a pretty miserable way of going about living, if you think about it. Yeah. Let that man be. The man didn't offend anybody. He stood on his beliefs. What's wrong with that? You look at the history of this country, people stood on beliefs, beliefs of freedom, beliefs of slavery, whether it was right or wrong. People have stood on the concept of beliefs in this country since the inception of America. What is wrong with that?
I hear you. I hear you. All right. So listen, I thought it was important to address it and have a conversation, regarding it. And I get not everybody's going to feel the same way. And that's exactly what this country's all about. We have the right to disagree and hopefully do it civilly, right?
I mean, I disagree with you two gentlemen all the time. You guys don't have the right to disagree with me, though.
That's a good point, Barry. I take back everything I just said. Never mind.
I have the right to keep you
as
out of
long
my
as
house.
we agree with Barry.
Hey, Derek. Hey, man.
I got the right to keep you out of my crib and not give you barbecue. That's my right to defend my territory. That's what I'm talking about.
No, that's absolutely not true.
All right. So when we come back, a reminder that, in fact, the Eagles are a good football team. We will do that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right. Knowing who to trust with your finances can be a scary proposition, and I'm right there in the front of the line. I am no expert when it comes to that. All right. But I found somebody who is and has been an unbelievable help to me. And that is Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, if you have a small business and you need help getting your employee benefits off the ground, that's another resource that Jim can assist you with. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers to Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. I also reach out to him whenever I have any questions, about, what's happening with, the plans that I have with Jim, or if I'm seeing something, I'm seeing a trend. Hey, tell me about this. What's this look like? He is a great sounding board. That's for sure. Give him a call. 610-996-4751. 610-996-4751. You can also reach him via email at Murray, murray.jim@principal.com. That's murray.jim@principal.com.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm Managing Director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Back on this Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Coming up at 1:30, we'll talk to Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers. We'll talk some Sixers with Paul. Tomorrow, we will have Jordan Reynon from ESPN.com. He covers the Giants. We will talk to Jordan on Friday. We will have Michael Barkpan from NBC Sports Philadelphia. You might know that guy, Barrett. You might be familiar with him.
Yeah. We tend to meet up on
going.
Sundays. I guess we got to meet up this Saturday.
You might be hanging out Saturday this instead of Sunday. Yeah, Saturday night, in fact, is when you might be hanging out. I know. Sorry, Gunner. I had to just in case you forgot.
2 days in a row you did this.
I thought maybe you forgot for a minute. I had to remind you.
Oh my goodness.
But look at it this way. At least you're off the next day.
Yeah, off Friday, man. We're off Friday.
We are.
Who's off Friday?
I mean, no. I'm sorry. It was Saturday. We're Saturday.
Oh,
we're off on Sunday.
I thought you knew something we didn't know. I was
really?
We're off Friday.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Wishful thinking.
I hear you. All right. So I say this, half tongue in cheek, half not, but the Eagles were a 14-3 team. 2 of those losses came when their quarterback went out injured. But they were a darn good team. Let me give you a statistical reminder of just how good. Defensively, 70 sacks first. They allowed 179.8 yards per game in the air first. Yards allowed, 301.5 second. Points allowed, 20.2, tied for 7th. Turnover differential, +8, third. 27 takeaways, tied for 3rd. 4 players in double-digit sacks. That's for starters. Let's go to the other side of the ball. 28 points per game, 3rd. 241.5 passing yards, 9th. 147.6 rushing yards, 5th. 2,000-yard receivers and 1,000-yard rusher. Jalen Hurts, 3,701 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 67 completion percentage, 101.6 passer rating, 760 rushing yards, and 13 touchdowns. This is the team that's going to take the field on Saturday night against the Giants. And I think it's a team that we've sort of, because maybe they didn't play great against the Bears. Jalen gets hurt. They lose 2 in a row. The last game is really kind of a weird confluence of trying not to get hurt, but also trying to win the game with Jalen not all the way back, even though he was playing, and then having an off day, an off week. Then you watch the Giants play really well against the Vikings, and I'll get to the Giants in a little bit. But I think we tend to forget how good this team is and how well coached they've been throughout the year.
You're absolutely right, man. Just all those numbers just point towards this team. For the first 3 quarters of the year was amazing. You know what I'm saying? Amazing. I mean, we could do literally no wrong. And then circumstances could become that, we're not playing as well because, I mean, ultimately big factors happened during these last 3 or 4 games. Our starting quarterback is out. Our starting right tackle's out. Our starting slot corner's out. Our starting tight end was out. I mean, there was so many extenuating circumstances that, now everybody's saying, all right, is this team the team, of destiny? Is this the team that, we thought we were going to have? Do they really have an opportunity to win us? Yes, they're still a good team. And it's not me just drinking the Kool-Aid. It's not me just being a glass half full type of guy. It's not me. This Eagles team is a good team. They have not left. To me, they have not left being one of, if not the best team in the NFL. Yes, even better than the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? They're still one of the upper echelon teams. So, I mean, I never got with, saying this team is not as good as we saw before. They are as good. They just needed to get healthy. Now they're back healthy. Now they're ready to go out there and play at a high level that we're used to seeing them play at.
Derek?
Well, statistically, they are the best of the best. There's no question about it. No matter how they got to the finish line, they are the best of the best at what they've done this season over a 17-game span. And I think to a certain degree, they spoiled us because we grew to expect this every week, And so every team has hiccups along the way. You look at the records. There's not a team in the NFL that has not had a hiccup along the way. And when this team started to have hiccups, people started questioning even louder, did this team peak too soon? Or was it a mirage? So on and so forth. But like Barrett said, significant pieces to the equation fell by the wayside along the way. And let's face it, for the most part, they got through this season unscathed, unlike a lot of teams that had to scramble to fill voids and try to keep this thing going. Some were able to successfully do it. Many more were not. Now this team has gotten a little bit healthier. You know, we know Lane Johnson is not going to be 100%. We assume Jalen Hurts is 100%. Dallas Goedert is back. CJ is back. Avonte Maddox is still a big loss, but they still have enough everywhere else to overcome whatever deficiencies they might have in personnel at their one particular spot. So this team is ready to go. They're well rested. They're healed up. They had a chance to study the different things that the Giants threw at Minnesota that they could possibly see. They fully expect Daboll and Martindale to throw some different things at them, just as Daboll and Martindale expect Steichen, Sirianni, and Gannon to throw some different things at them. I cannot wait to see this chess match unfold.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the only other thing, and I know they will never, ever, ever admit to this, but you can't tell me that the way they got smoked last year in the first round didn't leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And I know you got to concentrate on the Giants, and I get it. Like, but that Barrett, especially, you know the way Hurts picks, man, and the way he likes boulders on his shoulder and all that, man. That he wants to go out there and show everybody I am a playoff player too. This is not just the regular season.
That's huge. You know, people really aren't thinking that, you know, he still has a bad taste in his mouth left from even that. You know, them talk, and that's why Nick Sirianni has that same bad taste also. That's why he did, you know, say, all right, you know, we understood after that loss against Tampa Bay that we have to have a passing game in order to go far into the playoffs. Hence, that's why they've been throwing the ball so daggone much, because of that reason. So they can stay sharp in throwing the ball. So Jalen Hurts can be sharp and knowing his read, executing the offense. Because they're going to need that passing game. Yep. They've always got that back. Anytime they've wanted to run the ball and run the ball successfully, they've done it. They've achieved it. You know, they're saying, oh, we don't run the ball as well. That's because we're not making an effort, a solid effort to do it. And whenever they make a solid effort to run the ball, they can run the ball on anybody and everybody, including the 49ers. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So for us to be like, you know, all right, they can't run up. They're choosing not to. They're being selective in how they're approaching this pro season. They want to throw the ball because they know they can win a championship by throwing the rock.
Right. And look, there's not to say that Miles Sanders isn't a great solution, but you have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have Dallas Goedert. And Goddard's going to be the guy to watch for in this game. I'm telling you right now. I mean, Hawkinson last week, 10 catches, 129 yards. Hawkinson's really good. I'm not taking anything away from T.J. Hawkinson.
Exactly.
But so is Dallas Goedert. I think this could be a Dallas Goedert game this week.
Yep.
Well, more importantly than Hurts and Sirianni with that bad taste in their mouths, the front office also had that bad taste, which leads to what corrections they made in realizing what they needed to do to get better to be an upper echelon team. They went out and got linebacker. They went out and got wide receivers. When the run defense was wavering, they went out and got two, Brahma Bulls to put in the middle of that defensive line. Every step along the way, Howie has been on top of identifying what the weaknesses were on this team and correcting those weaknesses. They needed another wide receiver. They needed to get better at linebacker. They needed to get better at pass rushing. They needed to get better at run defending. And we talk about all the time how Jalen Hurts has checked off every box. Howie Roseman has checked off every box you can possibly checked off, more so than anybody else in the league in terms of filling gaps to make this a stronger, deeper team. And look at the results that he's gotten because of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the talent on this team, and I know it's not just doesn't come down to talent. Here's the thing. The Eagles are more talented. I think, look, you could argue coaching. Dable's really good. So if you want to say that's a push, that's fine. But the Eagles if you're asking me healthy Jalen against Daniel Jones, I'm taking Jalen. If you're receivers, there isn't even a comparison. Tight end, there's not even a comparison. Offensive line, the Eagles are better. And then again, I'm assuming Lane's relatively healthy. Defensive line. Now, Giants are legit on the defensive line. I'm not taking anything away.
No question about that.
Linebackers, I would take the Eagles, actually. Mm-hmm. Corners, it's secondary. Overall, I'll take the Eagles, but the Giants are no chopped liver. I'm not saying that, but most of the critical positions, I'm taking the Eagles head to head. And it's really, by a lot.
Absolutely. There's no question about
it. The Eagles are the better team, period. There's no question about that. but we have to go out there and play as such. And one thing we do know, we have the proper people in place to execute what we need to execute and play at the level we need to play at. Jalen Hurts will do everything possible to be ready for this game. He has definitely put in the time, going and watching film, correcting his mistakes, understanding what he has to do, looking at the last game he played and seeing how he broke down that defense and the blitzes, knowing when he needs to run, when he needs to keep himself safe, slide, stop, drop, and roll, whatever he needs to do to make sure, because he knows what he means to this team. He saw what his absence meant to this team. So he's going to take care of himself. So I'm not worried about him going out there and executing this offense the way it's supposed to be executed, but still keeping himself safe and out of harm's way. Right. Yes, they're going to run the read option. Yes, they're going to run RPOs. But he will take care of himself and govern himself accordingly because his absence meant a lot more to this team than even he thought or we thought it was going to be. We thought we had somebody. Well, we still do have somebody in Gardner Minshew that could play, but we don't need to play because I believe Jalen Hurts is going to make sure that he's okay. Now, looking on the defensive side of the ball, the way that our defense, looking at their offense, I can't see a flaw in which we'll be overwhelmed in any place, even with their receivers. I mean, what's the guy's name? Hodgins.
Yeah. Isaiah Hodgins.
Yeah.
Isaiah Hodgins. There are people, oh my goodness, this kid is coming out. Do we not understand who we have at the quarterback position? Darius Slayton. Okay. Not overwhelming me. Richie James. All right. This team is nowhere near what the Eagles are. And I think I know they're going to play the way they're supposed to play, understanding where they are. This is a winner-go-home tournament. They're going to be ready to play, man. And you're going to see I believe you're going to see a dominant game by this Eagles team, giving whoever wins that other playoff game something they're going to have to research and really, really scheme to try to beat us.
Yeah, looking ahead, you get an extra day.
Exactly.
How about that? I'm glass half full. I'm already looking ahead, which I can't do, which I shouldn't do, but I can do it. They can. No, but I think I'm sorry. I don't think they're going to have an answer for a relatively healthy Hurts. I just don't. I think the Eagles are going to scheme this thing up as such where they're going to put up some points. And I know the Giants are a tough team. I'm taking nothing away from the Giants generally here. I just think the Eagles are that good. It's more of a compliment to the Eagles than it's a knock on the Giants. I just think they're that good, all around. And they just present so many different problems, Cousins doesn't provide that threat with his legs that Jalen provides. You have two studs on the outside, not just Justin Jefferson. You have the tight end who's the equivalent of Hawkinson. You have a running game that's equivalent of what they have with Dalvin Cook, and you're just better at most of those positions than the Vikings are in general. And it's not like the Vikings were completely shut down. They weren't.
You're right. Cousins had, like we talked about in our meeting, Cousins had a pretty good day, man.
200. He went 31 of 39, 273, 2 touchdowns throwing, 1 rushing, and wasn't sacked.
Right. That's a pretty good day. Even though they didn't run the ball consistently, I don't think they gave Dalvin
Cook.
I agree with that.
A real chance to take control of the game. So in order to run the ball, is not the 2 and 3 yard runs you guys think aren't effective, but they are. When you run the ball, you run the ball, you get 3 yards here, 4 yards there, and then another 3 yards there. You're right there where you need to be, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. You want to be in third manageable situations. You know what I'm saying? Just as long as there's no negative plays, those are good runs. Mm-hmm. Because I won a Super Bowl with 3 yards here, 3 yards here, 6 yards there, and it's a first down. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Yes, I had a Hall of Famer back there in Jerome Bettis. But the offensive line, you could have put anybody back there. Fast Willie Parker. We had Deuce. You have to make sure that you establish it when you want to establish it. And there's no such thing as a bad run as long as you're gaining yards. As long as it's 2 yards here, you're going to bust 6 yards here, and then you're going to get another 4 yard run here, and you have a first down. Those are all things you have to account for. You can't give up on the run. I know they want to get those dynamic plays and push the ball down the field. They want big play situations. That's why they brought in A.J. Brown. That's why they drafted a top 10 receiver in the draft 2 years ago. You want those type of impact plays, but there's nothing wrong with grinding it out and keeping the ball in your hands. Because when we play against those two teams, one of those two teams we're going to play for in the NFC Championship game, whether it's Dallas or the 49ers, you're going to have to run and stay consistently with the ball in our hands as opposed to it being in whoever the opponent's hands are.
Yeah, I like your all your points. Your initial one is great. I mean, don't give up on it if you're not ripping off 7 yards per carry.
Exactly.
Early. Just stay with it. I mean, that's the thing that bothers me. This is an Eagle. It's not just an Eagle thing. It's an NFL thing. I think you got to, just stay committed to it for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think there's just a lot to like those numbers aren't bogus numbers. It's across the board on both sides of the ball where you're consistent. There's a reason you ran out to a 13-1 start. That wasn't by coincidence. Okay. And it wasn't because of some weak schedule and all the other excuses that people like to throw in there. They whipped the Vikings.
Look at Forest Hill. That's a great comment. That's a great comment right there. That's a great comment. Like you've seen against the Commanders, gas after gas after gas. Beat the Eagles. Keep the ball out of Jalen's hands. That's exactly what you do. That's what the Saints did.
Mm-hmm.
All out the first drive. Keep their offense off the field. That way they can't score. You know what I'm saying? That makes this Eagles team antsy, and they want to throw the ball after that. Yep. Bruh, consistency. You know what I'm saying? Slow and steady. There's nothing wrong with having the ball for and winning the time possession. Usually when you win the time possession, you win the game. And that's how the Eagles have been consistently winning the game, by controlling the clock.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, the Giants' game plan is going to be, I think, running Barkley and Jones running himself to try to accomplish that, keeping the Eagles off the field. That's what it's all about. You can stop those two guys. All due respect to Hodgins and Slayton and Richie James and all those guys and Bellinger, they've overachieved in a big way. But
yes,
I'm not afraid of those guys. Nope. I worry about Barkley and I worry about Daniel Jones with his wheels. I do. I legitimately, that's the concern for me.
Well, that's sweet. To me, that's going against our strength. They're going against those 4 guys up front, or 4 and 5 man fronts.
Right.
We have to stop the run with those 4 and 5 guys up front. We got to have great days out of Sue. We got to have great days out of Linville Joseph. We got to have great days out of Fletcher Cox, Hargraves. Those guys up front in the middle of that defense have to play consistent. And it's not just in run plays and stopping Saquon Barkley, setting the edge with Hassan Reddick and Sweat and BG and those guys. What we need is to make sure we contain Daniel Jones and his ability to get out of circumstances in which he can get out there and run. We did a great job of rushing the passer and keeping him inside the pocket. As long as you keep him inside the pocket, this is like the new wave now. The new wave quarterbacks these days can run the ball and are effective at getting out of crucial situation, running the ball down the field. You look what's going on in Jacksonville. Everybody's taking a page out of Jalen Hurts' book. Look at Jacksonville. They don't mind Lawrence out there running the rock and gaining first down like that. Daniel Jones is the same way. You look at Allen. Allen is doing that. And we all see what Patrick Mahomes does. He gets out of it. He just doesn't run with it. He wants to throw the ball down the field. Versatile quarterbacks can get out of the pocket and make some things happen. It's like the new wave thing. The days you're just sitting back there like Marino and hitting and dunking and dancing and Brady, just dunking. That stuff, you can still do it. But you're more effective now with quarterbacks that can go out there and move. You can move the pocket around for them as opposed to sit back there like a statue.
Absolutely. All right, let's get a timeout. We'll dig a little bit more into this Giants team and what they do well, what they struggle with, areas you could attack, all those kind of things. We'll do that when we come back again. 1:30. Paul Hudrick. We'll talk some Sixers with him, but we'll continue the Eagles Giants matchup talk when we come back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Pro Action Restoration. Yes, my friends at Pro Action Restoration. If you have a home, you have a business, you have a property that you own, and you unfortunately go through the experience of water, fire, smoke, mold damage, whatever, it can be really trying and you're not really sure who to turn to. You're trying to do it yourself. It's a bigger job than you can handle. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I know because I went through it. I went through it at my parents' house, their basement, water down there after a bad storm, and it was a disaster. Well, I called Pro Action Restoration on a Saturday. They got right over there. They fixed the problem. They cleaned it up. The price was reasonable. The crew was professional. It was a great experience. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They serve the tri-state area, and they have for more than 2 decades. Pro Action Restoration will work in conjunction with your insurance company. And again, it could be water, could be fire, could be smoke, could be mold remediation. Any of the above, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Game Show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Hey, what's up? We're back. How you doing? We are Sports State, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis hanging out with you on this Wednesday. Hey, let me give you this is interesting. For all the teams that are left, Derek, that are still playing, the 8 teams that are left, Aaron Taylor tweeted this out. Aaron Taylor was a longtime NFL player, really insightful guy. He does a lot of good work with college football and whatnot on CBS Sports. Anyway, so of all of the 8 quarterbacks that are still remaining for the teams that are still alive in this thing, there isn't a player left who is over the age of 30. You have Trevor Lawrence, 23, Brock Purdy, 23, Jalen Hurts, 24, Daniel Jones, 25, Joe Burrow, 26, Josh Allen, 26, Patrick Mahomes, 27, 7, and Dak Prescott 28 or 29. 29. He's 29. How about that? That's pretty interesting.
Well, like I said earlier in the week when I saw that stat, I said, what? Patrick Mahomes was the oldest starting quarterback left in the AFC playoffs at 27 years old.
Yeah, he's the old man in the AFC.
That is but that shows you the movement that's been going on in the NFL, especially the quarterbacks. Teams are out there clamoring for that future franchise quarterbacks, and there's still some good quarterbacks left, in this that are going to have a definitive factor in deciding the outcome of games. It's good to see that we're not talking about the old guards, the Bradys, the Rodgers, and so on and so forth. It's nice to see some fresh blood in there, man. And these are the guys we're going to be talking about for years to come. And they're out there making a name for themselves. I mean, you look at the numbers they're putting up, look at the throws they're making, look at the big games they're winning. And that's where we are right now. The quarterbacks that we grew accustomed to always being there in the postseason. Not the case anymore. There's a new guard now, that we got to get used to.
I'm liking it. I'm liking the freshness to this.
And that's why I keep saying the new wave quarterbacks. I'm saying that because that's what I'm seeing right now. You're seeing a new type of quarterback out there. It's exactly what you want these offenses to be. The high flying. That's what they want. The high flying. You can't stop them because if you think you can stop the pass, they can run with it. They can do so many things. This is such a new, exciting game now. Just when you think you have a guy bottled up, and all of a sudden, bam, he's running for 30 yards down the field because you blitz and you have these guys out there man for man. They've turned their backs on him, and then like people on the stream are saying, there's some big quarterbacks. He's just some big dudes. Like Jalen Hurts is not tall, but he's a thick body dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he's built. These aren't just Tom Brady-esque guys that, look like Bambi out there. Yeah. These are athletes that can run, jump, hit. I mean, these guys are big, strong guys. I mean, look at Allen. Allen's like, what, 6'5", 6'6", 230, 240. Yeah. Daniel Jones, 6'5", 225. Yeah. Right. I mean, these guys are big, strong guys. And you got to come with, with your helmet strapped up and ready to hit these guys because you're not just going to bring them down. Just by blowing on them. I mean, I can remember the days, where quarterbacks used to stop, drop, and roll. These guys don't do that no more. They might get look at the last game we played in. Poor little Reed Blankenship.
Oh my goodness.
He got ran over.
He got Davis webbed. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, this is new, exciting football, man. That we're having an opportunity of seeing a new wave athlete come out, new wave quarterback come out, and they're making these offenses so dynamic, and and I love what I'm seeing right now.
Man, no question about it. All right, so looking at the Giants now, so they beat the Vikings 31-24. Keep in mind, as much as we talk about the Eagles close to their season, Giants finished their season 2-5-1. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, in fairness, the one game against the Eagles, they didn't play anybody. All right. So if you want to throw that out, 2-4-1 is the way they closed the season. Minnesota. Okay. And this is, again, a good offensive team. There's no question about that. But, the Giants were, I'm going to give you some Vikings numbers just to support, how the Giants were able to do what they did in part. The Vikings, third most points allowed in football this past season. At 25.1. The Vikings were 20th against the run. They were 31st against the pass. They were ripe for the taking from an offensive perspective. Daniel Jones goes out there and goes 24-35, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 114 passer rating, rushes 12 times for 78 yards. Saquon, 9 rushes, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Hodgins, who we were talking about earlier, 8 catches, $105, and a touchdown. You should have done that against this defense. Frankly, this is a bad defense. It was the worst overall defense was still playing until last weekend, the Vikings. Okay. Giants didn't record a sack. Kirk Cousins goes 31-39, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. TJ Hawkinson, 10 catches, 129 yards. So I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit on just how dominant the Giants defense was. They did a really good job on Justin Jefferson. There's no denying that. Adoree Jackson deserves a lot of props for that. But other than that, they didn't exactly stifle Minnesota.
I've been saying for much of the latter part of the
Yep.
season that this team was smoke and mirrors defensively because of that Ed Donatel defense. When you have 12 wins by one score and you win 6, 7, 8 games on last possessions, you know, Lady Luck eventually runs out on you, and it finally caught up to him. You know, that defense was the Vikings' Achilles heel in a lot of ways. You know, luckily they had the offensive weapons to do a lot of things what they did, but that defense has been a sieve all year. You know, people kept talking about Vikings wanted to dominate. No, they weren't. No, they were not. You talk about two unbalanced sides of the ball. They had everything you need on offense and had virtually nothing on defense. And they were able to survive many of the wars because of the inferior opponents they were playing in a lot of ways. Or, you know, you go to the Buffalo game. When have you seen a quarterback fumble at the goal line?
Right.
When have you seen that? So there were some fluke things along the way. And the bottom line is I don't care how you win, as long as you win. But eventually, and it caught up to them against the Giants. The Giants truly believe they could win that game because of the way they played their game on Christmas Eve in Minnesota. It took a 61-yard field goal to do them in. They fought that Vikings team tooth and nail, and they probably went behind closed doors and said, if we eliminate this, we can beat this team. Mm-hmm. There was no fear factor involved. They knew just like we're talking about it now. They knew every weak spot on that Vikings team, especially the defense, and they exploited it. Offensively, they took Jefferson out of the game. They stonewalled him in the running game, and that's a big reason why they won that game.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, I watch the tape, man. I watch the film. I watch all these games, man. I go back and break them down. Some games I pay a little more attention to than others. And I have to stop looking at the Vikings-Giants game because you really can't make an accurate assessment on how good that offense is because that defense was so bad. I mean, schematically, they just were flawed in how they tried to stop that Giants offense. They were flawed. I mean, they had nobody to, try to stop Saquon Barkley. They weren't trying to. They were rushing for, dropping back into coverage. Why would you rush for, drop back into coverage against Daniel Jones, knowing that he's not one of those guys going to carve you up? And they still got carved up by him. It's you look at their defense. I mean, Patrick Peterson, a little long in the tooth. You know what I'm saying? He isn't the same guy he was. Hawkinson killed him underneath because they didn't have. I mean, Kendricks is a good linebacker, but he's also starting to slow down a little bit. They just didn't have what you would term as a good schematic scheme to try to stop. You got to keep an extra person in the box and hope on the outside you guys can cover. Gannon has to make sure that he has press coverage against these wide receivers to take the first read off, make Jones hold the ball a little bit, and then have 8 in the box to try to stop Saquon Barkley. In the midst of stopping Saquon Barkley, is tackle the run on your way to the quarterback. That's the way they got to think. Tackle the run on the way to the quarterback. If you have that mindset, you can beat this team. They didn't do anything out of the way that was extraordinary as far as play calling. There wasn't a lot of gadget plays. There wasn't a lot of misdirection. It was man on man, and the Giants just out-physical that Minnesota football team. They outplayed them. They wanted it more than the Vikings wanted it. So that's why they won the game. If you look at their offensive line, the young boy was getting taxed by old men. Hunter's old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Danielle Hunter. Yeah.
Smith is old. I mean, come on, man. Just to think that that team was good enough to beat that Giants team, and the Giants team they weren't even on a roll. They were just a better team because defensively they stopped that offense because the defense had nothing. They couldn't stop anybody, nobody. You know what I'm saying? If you played Minnesota, anybody who's gonna play Minnesota knew they were gonna win. Win out and out. Mm-hmm. In fact, they were probably preparing for us as opposed to preparing for Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? That's how bad they were.
Okay. That's pretty interesting right there. Yeah, and Gunnar, that's the thing. The one game this year, you throw the last game out, but the other game, the Week 14 game, in fairness to them, Saquon Barkley was a little bit banged up, and they weren't using him a ton. So it's a little bit hard to gauge there. But other than that, I mean, they really handled them in that game. 48 spot, and rushed for 253 yards in that game. They did whatever they wanted on the ground, though.
There's no question about it, and that's why I said, I truly believe the Giants, being true to themselves, realize that they're outmanned, man for man, on both sides of the ball. But you have two great minds, and that's why I said I want to see what they come up with. When I look at that Giants offense in particular, and I've seen them play like 6-7 times, Brian Daboll has some incredible gadget plays that have worked well. I fully expect him to throw the whole book at this Eagles defense when it comes to gadget plays. He's had a number of them work for them. That's the only way you're going to beat this. You're not just going to beat this Eagles team man up and running your offense. You have to throw some new things. Martindale, what is he going to do? And the same thing with the other coaching staff. What are they going to do? I think this is a great chess match. The Eagles have the decisive advantage when it comes to overall personnel, athleticism, explosive players. But the coaching staff is a key and cog in this whole thing in terms of how they come at each other. And I fully expect the Giants, as we've heard all season long, we saw they did some things that we weren't expecting them to do. You're going to get a lot of that this weekend. To what degree, obviously, is going to be determined by down and distance. But I fully expect it. If you're a coach of a team like the Giants, you shocked the world, you beat Minnesota, and you think you're going to come in here and win this game, you can't come in here with a conventional game and beat this team. It's not going to work. You have to have something in your arsenal that's been sitting in your playbooks, and you're going to blow the dust off of it and practice it on a short weekend. We got to try this. We have to at least try it. That's the only chance we have of coming in here and doing anything.
Yeah. That's why they were so vanilla against this Minnesota team.
Because they didn't have to.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was so vanilla against
Daboll's good at coming up with this gadget crap.
Oh, man. He is good. Look, they're going against he's proven what he belongs and then some.
Well, let me tell you what's going to happen.
And Martindale's good too.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. We've already seen how it worked against our defense. Look at what the Saints did against us and all those wildcat formations and everything. Can you imagine Saquon, shifting over and being a wildcat guy, and he's going to be he did that beginning of the season. That's why they went on that 8-game run when they were winning. They were using wildcat and everything else. Please believe they're going to do that against this Eagles defense because the Eagles defense had a problem with how they did that against them. Wildcat, and they have a game plan on how to run it against this Eagles defense. I mean, the only thing they were lacking against the in that Saints game was who CJ wasn't playing. Yes. Everybody else was there, present. That defense was healthy for the most part.
Yeah,
and they got out physical against that Saints offense. So you can guess, you can rest assured they're going to get a heavy dose of that going into this game. And the defense better be ready to combat that. They cannot sit back and be on their heels like they were against that Saints team. Now, the Saints didn't score a lot of points, but they held the time of possession. That's why they won the game.
That's it.
With those plays, they played 4-minute football in a whole entire fourth quarter. Because they knew our offense wasn't going to score. They played 4-minute football. 4-minute football is when you put extra deep offensive linemen in there, when you just run the ball and make them stop. And we couldn't do it. So please believe that's what they're going to do against this team. They're not going to run it to necessarily have big plays with, but they're going to run it to try to keep Jalen Hurts off the field.
Control the clock. Exactly. Yeah. 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust. Yes.
They know what it is. They saw what Washington did. They saw what the Saints did. And the critical thing is that I'm telling you, man, that first series, those first couple of series, if you're defensively, if you can establish yourself and get off the field, then the Giants' mindset might change a little bit. It really might. So that's the thing I think it's going to be, really intriguing to watch is the defense early. And I truly believe like the offense with Jalen back and healthy and all your weapons, we're going to see about Lane. That's the one I wish I could get past that, but I have a hard time. Yeah. I have a hard time with that one. Yeah. But that's going to be the key. Get going early. The other thing is their defensive backs really struggled in that first meeting with AJ and Devontae.
Because they didn't have anybody.
They didn't have anybody. They were all hurt. Yeah,
they were. I mean, Julian Love was playing, but he didn't. You're right. You're right. Adoree Jackson's a big addition for them. That's
Xavier McKinney.
McKinney too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with Chris. Very interesting how our offensive coordinator and coaching staff will adjust to the creativity of Dable.
That's
will
what
they
I've been
be able to
saying all
adjust in
week.
time?
Yep.
Saying it all week.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, I mean, everything the Giants offense is doing, Dabo did it in Buffalo with better talent. But he's still doing it with this limited Giants roster. He knows what his limitations are.
Sure.
But he's come up with schemes and concepts that have worked and that have won them games they shouldn't have won in a lot of ways. So that's what I'm saying. When you're playing the Goliath of the NFL in terms of stats right now, you've got to try to find any kind of edge you can. And it's not going to be just a conventional game plan, three down football in a cloud of dust. He's going to throw some reverses in there. He's going to throw some of the, if you're a smart coaching staff, I'm looking at what Washington, two tapes I look at first. What did Washington and New Orleans do against this team? Especially New Orleans. What did New Orleans do?
Yep.
That worked so well for them. That even though I know we know Hurts wasn't there. That's a big one. Okay, but what did they do? Because this was the same Eagles offense that went down to Dallas and put up 30-something points on that, 34 points on that Dallas defense, and the Saints have no offense, but yet they held them to 10 points?
Yeah.
I'm still sitting there shocked. I didn't think anybody in the league, the way this offense had been rolling, even with Minshew under center, I didn't think anybody in the league could hold this team to 10 points. Whether they win or lose, I didn't think there was a defense that could hold this team to 10 points.
Yeah.
Well, they hurt themselves. They bit themselves.
Sure they did.
That's the other, great point, Barrett. They were a great team at taking care of the ball early in the year, and then that was something that bit them late. Look at the losses. Look at the Cowboys loss. Look at the Washington loss. What was it, 8 combined turnovers in those games, 4 in each game? Yeah. So that's 2 of the losses that you can account for. The other one, the Saints, they have a turnover in that game?
Yeah, they both got 1 turnover.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I mean,
or that's touchdown.
Lattimore took it to the house. I mean, it was 1 for 1.
That's right.
In terms of the turnover. And that's why I said the Eagles have not won the turnover battle in 4 consecutive games after they were blowing people up in terms of winning the turnover battle. And I'm looking at that thinking, okay, that's something that your defensive coordinator needs to be harping on all week. We need to win the turnover battle. He's got to be harping on that time and time again. We need to win this turnover battle.
Well, I'm looking at the stream. I'm loving the stream. I love when the national criticism starts happening. Rasheed Brown said that, man. You're absolutely right. I love the negativeness when we hear, because it makes this team, get into that mode of, all right, it's us against the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's us against the world. When they were trying to prove themselves that we are a dominant team and nobody believed in them, nobody talked about them. That's when they start playing different. This is the best. This is by far the best I felt going this way. Even if I feel better. I feel better now than I felt going into 2017. You know what I'm saying? I feel good about us going to this playoffs because, number one, our backs are against the wall and we know how to fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say we don't need the dog mask. We don't need any of that. But what this team is a team that likes to rally around their quarterback, number one, Jalen Hurts, and getting that right mindset. When they start thinking the same and feeling those as them against the world, that's when things start getting better. You look at what guys are saying now. Guys are talking like coaches now because that's the way Jalen Hurts talks. They're talking because they know they need to be a one solid unit. They know that they need to be a single entity in order to win. They got to come together like they've never came together before in the playoffs, and that's how you build great teams. Because it's not even I'm my brother's keeper, but you have that mindset. All right, if I do my job, everything else will take care of itself. You have 11 players doing their job on the field, then the offense works, the defense works, the special teams works. When you have a couple guys freestyling because they feel as though, all right, I got to, play a little stronger because this guy's this. No, you just need to play and do your job.
Yeah,
and that's what this team is built on.
You have Hurts coming up, people questioning him, coming off an injury. You have Miles Sanders, who's been quiet of late, also a free agent at the end of the year. Don't lose sight of that. Dallas Goedert, who's been pretty quiet since coming back. He's been solid, steady, but not explosive. I think he's going to have a big game. Slay's probably heard some of the criticisms of him, lately. There's a lot there. You got a lot of incentive, especially with some of the older dudes who are free agents, BG, whatnot, some of the other guys, Hargrave. I just think there's so many reasons, not that you wouldn't be up for this anyway. You don't need to be a free agent, but I'm just saying there's so many reasons for this team just to be ready to go here, man. And they're well rested. They didn't play last and get beat up, like the Giants did against the Vikings. So all these reasons I think set up really nicely.
And a short week on top of that.
Right.
Wow.
That could be huge. That could be huge. Yeah.
Yep. On top of that. So for all those reasons, certainly a lot to dig into. All right. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we are going to set our sights on the Sixers. Not to say we're done with the NFL and the Eagles, because we're not, far from it, in fact. But there's a lot to do coming up at 2 o'clock with our NFL segment and Eagles segment coming up, swinging it back to the Eagles at 2:30. But when we come back, Sixers won again last night. Sixers have won 16 of their last 20, guys. They beat the Clippers last night. Joel Embiid went crazy again. We'll dive into all that. Paul Hudrick is going to join us from Liberty Ballers. So looking forward to talking to Paul when we return. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I'm going to tell you right now about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So if you have any types of issues with trees in your yard or on your property, if you do, they're just a quick phone call away, and they are experts at trimming all types of trees. They specialize in southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Keep in mind, it's the storm season. It's very windy this time of year. It's a great time to have your trees evaluated. You could avoid that bigger problem down the line by getting something to take care of now. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848 or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
We're back. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, hanging out with you on this Wednesday. Hope you're all doing great. We do appreciate you hanging with us. We talked a lot about the Eagles naturally over the course of the first half of the program. We dip into the Sixers right now, and we are joined by the man who is the editor-in-chief of Liberty Ballers. Does a great job. You can follow him on Twitter as well, at Paul Hudrick. Paul, welcome to the show, man. How's everything going?
Everything's going great. Enjoying this recent Sixers run. It's given us plenty to write about, so I'm enjoying that.
All right, so that's good. I'm glad you brought that up. So have we graduated, Paul? I'm talking collectively, not just you, but I'm saying everybody. Have they done enough to move us out of, talk to me when the playoffs start? You know there is that vibe in the city. Are we starting to chip away at that a little bit where people are starting to invest a little bit more, do you think?
Some people, I think a lot of people still have, and look, I mean, considering everything Sixers fans have been dealing with for the last, almost decade now. We started with the process, all these second round exits, Ben Simmons, Kawhi Leonard shot, coaching changes, front office changes, everything they've been through. I can understand why some people might be a little gun shy to be all in on this basketball team. But I will say, just from my perspective, there is a different feel to it. And I'm not telling people to if you want to dip your toes in, but if you don't feel good about it, don't do it. But there is a different vibe to this team that I feel like there has been in the past, partly because Joel Embiid continues to ascend, partly because you have a player in James Harden who's playing at a high level. Like, this is the guy that I think a lot of people were expecting they would get. Maybe not quite the quote-unquote Houston Harden, but pretty close. You see the depth of the team, how much more depth they have, and it's all come together, and there's a reason why they've won this many games. Is that enough to get some people back on board? Maybe, maybe not, but I think this is a pretty damn good basketball team, and I think if you tune in now to watch them on most nights, I think you'll enjoy what you see.
All right, Paul, to play off the opposite of what Rob was just talking about here, to what degree should we pump the brakes when you take into consideration, for the most part, and you can only play who's on your schedule, they've played a lot of inferior opponents up to this point. And I mean, I'm sitting here shocked that there's this many bad teams in the NBA this year. I've never seen anything like this.
And that's what it is. You know what I would say to that too, Gunner, is in the past, that is something the Sixers haven't done, right? Like, they haven't taken care of business. They haven't beaten the bad teams. And, you look at this stretch, they've won 16 of 20, right?
Yep.
Those 4 losses, only 2 were just like straight, to me, clunkers. The Wizards game on the road, they absolutely had that game won and just blew it. And then more recently, the Oklahoma City Thunder game. Though I will say 2 things about that. That Oklahoma City Thunder team is a lot better than people realize. They've been playing some pretty good ball. And 2, I feel like the Thunder felt like they owed them one after what happened on New Year's Eve when the Sixers went down there and just completely embarrassed them. Not to excuse anything from the Sixers. They did not play well that night. They did not have it. It was an egg. They laid an egg. But I'll say that, and some of the wins that frustrate people, right? Like, they go to overtime with the Lakers. They go to overtime with the Raptors and Indiana, those 3 games. But you know what? The common denominator is they won all of those games.
Yep.
In the past, those are games they don't win. So I hear what you're saying. Like, how many like signature wins do they have? And I can't really pinpoint it. I mean, the Clippers are kind of an up and down team, but they played them the 2 times the Sixers played the Clippers. They had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They were at mostly full strength, and they beat them both times. So, I mean, there's not too many wins where I'd say point to and say, that's a great win that leads you to believe. But I think, again, going back to the vibes I talked about, there's a different vibe around this team, a little bit more maturity, a little bit more veteran leadership that I think has influenced what I'm talking about.
Well, let me ask you this, Paul. You talking about that? I see awareness is a big thing with me when I'm looking at the Sixers team. Awareness and, all right, who's more aware? Is this team aware of how good they are, their personnel? Or is this awareness that, all right, Doc is aware of what he has in his team and is coaching them as such? what would you think is the most aware aspect of this game? Is the coaching or is the players?
You have to give because I know everyone wants to bury Doc Rivers as soon as things go south, and I'm not absolving him of any blame when that does happen. But conversely, when things go right, you do have to give him some credit, right? I mean, I think the one thing Doc does well, and he's done it well in other places, is the management of egos. Clearly, that didn't work out so well with Ben Simmons, but he's a different cat, and that's a whole different kind of thing. But when you look at Joel Embiid, you look at James Harden, they both seem pretty bought into me, on both ends of the floor. And Joel Embiid has played his best basketball under Doc Rivers. Now, Joel Embiid deserves the lion's share of that credit. He has evolved. He has made himself better. He has worked every summer to add aspects to his game. But then you even look at like a guy like Tyrese Maxey. Again, part of that is Tyrese being very mature and from a very young age being very professional. But the way he is taken to, okay, I'm coming off the bench and this is what I'm doing. And you saw how fantastic he was last night against the Clippers. They might not win that game if he doesn't just come out and is completely on fire in that fourth quarter, leading that kind of second unit lineup. And again, Tobias Harris is a guy who never known for his defense ever in his career. Even Doc has joked about that when he had him in LA and the different player he is. I just see a lot of guys who are more bought in than they've ever been. And I think too, another guy who deserves some credit for that, and I know he's taken a lot of heat too, is PJ Tucker. The guy has won a championship. The guy is a winner. He does a lot of little things to help them win. Clearly, offensively, he's been a disappointment for the most part, but I think he brings that too. He brings just that toughness, and I think there's like an open honesty thing that's going on that was never there in the past, where guys are being held accountable, and you see it on a nightly basis. I think Doc deserves some credit there. Tucker deserves some credit there, and the returning players deserve credit. Joel Embiid deserves credit. Maxey, Harris, like they all deserve a little bit of credit for the success.
Paul, let me ask you. You brought up Maxey and what he's been able to do in his maturity. He's 22. We tend to forget that sometimes. And if you reported this previously, I apologize. But on the broadcast last night, NBC Sports Philadelphia brought up the fact that he went to Doc and said, "Hey, bring me off the bench, man. Like, I get it. You know, we're trying to incorporate some different things. It's not a problem on my end. There are very few budding superstars in this league at 22 years old who would do that. He is cut from a different cloth, man.
He's special. And like I say that I think as a basketball player, he's going to be special. And I think as a human being, I think we're seeing he's a pretty special guy. Mm-hmm. And you need guys like that. And there is clearly an energy and a positivity he brings that rubs off. It rubs off on the older guys. Like even a guy like James Harden, you see, James can be quiet and kind of to himself, but even, Maxey brings a little bit of, can bring a smile to his face. And he clearly does that with Joel Embiid. I'm not sure in my time covering the team, I'm not sure, other than maybe Jimmy Butler, I'm not sure Joel Embiid has enjoyed playing with a player more than Tyrese Maxey. Even the new guys, like a guy like DeAnthony Melton, you see the energy that Maxey brings a guy like that and how it's just contagious. So I think that's a big part of it. Now, with that said, Rob, I'm not sure that long-term this rotating starting lineup thing is going to be something that works. I still think that Tyrese Maxey being a starter is their best option because I think he's one of their best players. Yep. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens down the road. But to your point, yeah, just maturity level off the charts, character off the charts with this guy. And from everything I've seen, behind the scenes from people I've talked to, it is all the real deal. Like what you see is what you get with this guy. He is genuinely this good of a kid and just has this positivity and this energy wherever he goes.
And on top of it, Paul, he's really starting to play well. Like you can tell he's back really from the foot now. He's back to being Tyrese Maxey. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that speaks again to his character. This is a guy who shot 29% from three at Kentucky, who is now one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA, off the dribble, catch and shoot. Does not matter. He is above 40% now the last 2 seasons. And I don't see it trending the other way. This guy is a worker. He's going to keep adding to his game. And I think that's where I think, he's a budding star in the sense that he's only going to go forward. He's only going to get better because he just works and works and works. And so that's why I think you're going to see him kind of transcend from budding star to eventually just a star. No, adjectives in front of it.
Right.
Paul, go back to Tucker for just a moment. I'm glad you brought up about Maxey. Do you think Tucker would be better suited coming off the bench more so than starting?
Possibly. That I think the issue I guess you would have there And listen, PJ Tucker's the guy. Like he talk about a dude who just knows his role and knows what he does. If they told him tomorrow he's coming off the bench, he'll just say, okay. Like he won't put up a fight. He won't say anything to the media. He'll say, okay, whatever I got to do. I think the issue you run into there is that if you do that, you're obviously going to go with DeAnthony Melton in the starting lineup, who has been excellent for this team. I don't know where they would be without him. But then you're talking about Tyrese Maxey, DeAnthony Melton, and James Harden. It's a little bit small. I think it helps maybe Tobias Harris because he's guarding more fours than threes, though he has proven he can against certain threes handle those matchups. So that would be my biggest trepidation in bringing Tucker off the bench. I'll say this, though, too, Gunnar. I feel like, and Doc has said this, and I actually tend to agree with him overall, starting lineups don't matter. Closing lineups are what matter. And I think the one thing, and I defended Brett Brown a lot for a lot of things, but I think the one thing that I like that Doc does that Brett didn't do, he's not as rigid with his closing lineups. Like he doesn't feel like, oh, okay, I have to play the starters. If a guy is hot, if a guy just has a really good matchup against the player, he'll close them. We've seen that with George Niang close the Lakers game the other night. I thought that was kind of a questionable decision, but hey, George nails a big three, then comes up with that stop on Russell Westbrook. So, proves me wrong. The coach just sometimes there is a thing to coach feel. And I think with Doc, with closing lineups, he's been pretty good with that. So yeah, if PJ Tucker had to come off the bench, I imagine he'd have no issue with that. And I think he'd be suited well for that. The only way I see it as a good option though, is if you bring in another wing who can start and that can slide Tobias down to the floor and still give you that size that would make sense for the rest of the starters.
Well, and looking at that, I'm looking at the minutes that these guys are having, not the starters or what we'd say the starters are, but I'm seeing guys like, Shake Milton, Harrells, they're averaging more than 10 minutes, Thibault, more than 10 minutes now, when last year the starters played so much that at the end of the season, I thought that they were, kind of tired because they played so much. But these guys are starting to come in and give great minutes. Is that you think of the maturation of Doc and understanding that these guys got to be ready for the playoffs and these young guys got to play in order to get acclimated and feel comfortable being out there?
Well, I still think, in my opinion, Doc might be playing James Harden like a scotch too much, considering he's 33 years old, coming off that hamstring issue that clearly cost him 2 years, essentially. He just wasn't himself for that long. You're starting to see his legs, under him now, more successful on drives, hitting more threes, just looks much more like the player that he was when he first got to Brooklyn, I guess is the best comparison. But I think part of it is when you both
he and Embiid are averaging about 35, 36 minutes a game.
Yeah. So it's a little high, but they have gotten some time off. They both missed time with injuries and all that. So there is that aspect to it too. When guys were hurt, whether it was Harden, whether it was Maxey, whether it was Embiid, Melton and Maxey were both Melton. I love this. Melton and Milton. There it is. Were both really stepped up. And I think they really gained Doc's trust. Now, Shake has always been a Doc Rivers favorite. We all know what Shake Milton did to Doc Rivers in Staples Center a few years ago when he put up 39 points against Doc's Clippers. So he's always been a favorite of Doc, but he's been so up and down. And, that stretch, he was so good during that. And I give Milton credit for this. Now that everyone is back, he's really just kind of settled into that role because he's not the primary ball handler. He's not the guy who was, averaging essentially 20 and 10 for that stretch when everyone was out, but he has just fit in so nicely. He understands where to attack, when to be aggressive, when to kind of yield to others. And it's been really impressive. And I do think, Barrett, to your point, that's a maturation thing on Shake's part. I think he has just learned how to fit in. Melton is just such a super role player. He was in Memphis and you're seeing it now. You don't want him to have the ball too much. You don't want him to be, overused. But when he can play with other stars like that, you see how valuable he can be. Niang, I think, is maybe getting a little bit overlooked for how good he's been for them. Of course, shooting is his calling card, but he's been a little bit better defensively. He gives you some stuff off the dribble. Sometimes, again, you don't want him, to overextend himself in that regard. But I give credit to Daryl Morey too that they're just deeper. They have more options. They signed Daniel House to be a guy that was going to be a rotational fixture, and that hasn't been the case. And that's not 100% on House. Part of that is because Shake Milton's been so good, because Matisse Thybulle who started the season out of the rotation, has kind of forced his way back into it. So there is just much more depth than there's been on this team in the last couple of seasons. I still think they need maybe a little bit more, but I think certainly the maturation of Milton has helped, and an addition of a guy like Melton has been huge as well.
Paul, let's talk about Tobias Harris, because look, he was a guy who got beat up for a while since they overpaid him on that contract. And that, you can lay that one on Elton Brand for sure. However, you look at the way the guy's kind of transcended his game. He's become more than a serviceable defender. Like, he's become a pretty decent defender, dare I say. And he just does a lot of other things to help you, man. And I think that obviously if he's not making that kind of coin, people would appreciate him a little bit more, but he's really grown his game a lot this year.
100%. And it started last year, really. When Harden first got here, he struggled a little bit. He struggled kind of finding himself, because when it was Embiid and Simmons was out, Harris is basically the second or third option, depending on, how Maxey was playing. So, kudos to him for really adjusting and saying, like, okay, James Harden's here. I have to take a bunch of threes, and I have to make those decisions quick, and I have to defend. And that's what I have to do on this team. And I know him and Doc Rivers had a very frank conversation about that when that trade went down. So credit to him. And it really, Rob, like you nailed it. His only crime is signing a contract that any of us would have signed in a heartbeat. That's his only crime. Like, he is a team first guy. He's a solid basketball player. I think I've heard it described, and I think this is a good way to put it. He's a good player making great player money. And that just is what it is. But he has helped this team tremendously. I think especially the last two games, he was really good in that second half of that Lakers game, really good all throughout that Clippers game, which everyone, that's like a joking thing on Sixers Twitter, how good he is against his former teams, which he does have many. But he was outstanding in that regard. And, as a third, fourth option, man, you could do a lot worse in the NBA than a guy like Tobias Harris. And I think one wrinkle Doc did against the Clippers that I liked is when he had Maxey in with that bench unit, he had Tobias Harris in with him.
Yep.
And I love that idea. I love that, give Maxey and Harris kind of this runway where they can be the scorers. They can be the initiators when Joel Embiid and James Harden are both on the bench. Not that I think they should both be on the bench for long. That's a whole other thing for a whole other time. But Tobias Harris, I just give him so much credit for being a team first guy. And I from a human standpoint, I'm enjoying that. It seems like everyone's kind of laid off him a little bit with the contract, and they're more focused on, all right, this guy is really fitting into a role perfectly. A guy that anyone would have traded at any point. I think now, if there is a trade at some point down the road, you got to be really careful about what you're doing with that.
Hey, Paul, look at where the Sixers are record-wise right now. I'm going to exclude Boston because I think Boston is head and shoulders better than everybody else in the East. But when you look at Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Cleveland, who are they better than, and are they on par with the other teams?
Yeah, I agree with you that Boston, just because of their depth, they just come at you in waves, man. They have so many good quality players. They have 2-star wings, which is it's hard to find 1-star wing. They have 2-star wings. Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, they just up and down. They are just a really deep, versatile team. So I'm with you that I think they are the class of the Eastern Conference right now. But I think the Sixers are right there with the Milwaukee Bucks. I really do feel that way. Especially with James Harden. And you saw what James Harden did on opening night against the Bucks, against Drew Holiday, who is an outstanding defender. That was one of his better games of the season so far. So it's a tough matchup, but I like that matchup. I think in future matchups, I'd like to see Joel Embiid use, and you saw this last night with what he did with Zubac, what he could do against Lopez, is use his quickness and his agility, because that's what he has over a guy like that. He's not going to outstrength a guy like Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is stout, he's strong, and he's played just terrific defense all year long. So I'd like to see, him and Harden in that pick and roll, get Lopez on the move, I think is the best bet. But yeah, I mean, listen, Cleveland's really good. And they've just been consistently really good all season long. But I think the only thing that's holding them back, and from me saying that I think, that they're in the top echelon, is just age. They can't change their birth certificates. Like, they're as old as they are. And Donovan Mitchell's been so damn good. I love the front court of Allen and Mobley, and Darius Garland's such a good young playmaker too. And then their depth is maybe where they are lacking a tad too. And then the Brooklyn Nets, of course, they're scary because you have Kevin Durant and you have Kyrie Irving, 2 Hall of Fame perimeter playmakers who are, can give you 50 on any given night.
Right.
I'm still very, very curious about the Ben Simmons situation and where he fits, because I see a lot of the same issues that arose here in Philadelphia. And until he kind of gets past those playoff demons and can kind of prove otherwise, I think that's still going to be a legitimate concern for the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay, so you brought it up. I was going to let you escape without following up here, but has sort of, I guess nationally, we're always going to have a spur, up somewhere about Ben Simmons, but have they just accepted that this guy's a 7.5, 6 assist, 7 rebound guy a game, like pedestrian bench player, 10 million a year kind of stuff for a guy who's maxing out? Have we gotten to that point where it's just acceptable that that's what this is now with him?
I have to, so I'm a little conflicted. I'll say this. I do want to give him more than, I don't know how many games he's played, 20 to 30 or so 32 games. I want to give him a little bit more than that, considering he did not play for an entire season. So I will say that Brooklyn's been a little banged up. They've had guys in and out of the lineup, and this isn't me making excuses for the guy. Like when you see him nearly put up a scoreless double-double, like that's, if I'm a fan of the Brooklyn Nets, that's alarming. You just not even look. You almost have to try not to score.
I mean, you saw the play the other day. It's a great dish to him.
Yeah.
A great dish, and he's right there at the rack again, and he doesn't hammer it or lay it in. He makes another pass, and it's
there is just a mental block with him that I don't know that he'll ever be able to get over it. I really don't. But he's still a world-class defender. Like he is, to me, still one of the best defensive players in the entire NBA. So that's where he's going to make his money. He's still a really good playmaker, and especially in the open court. But yeah, I think a lot of people just kind of have almost moved on from the idea of like, okay, this guy's not a superstar, and he might never be, and he might never be an all-star again. Like I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to get back to being even that level of player. So he's got some mental hurdles he's going to have to overcome, and that's the long and short of it. Yeah. And like to me, yeah, like Sixers fans, we kind of know what Sixers fans and the people that cover him, they know what he is, and I think we all kind of accepted that and moved on. The national discourse, I think, has kind of almost been non-existent because he just isn't at that level anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of crazy to me because, here this guy's a max player. But, long story long, going through the season, we as Philly fans are thinking, all right, we can no longer accept just the second round of the playoffs. Do you think they have a legitimate shot in the East of making that next step?
They have a shot, sure. I mean, it's so early. I mean, even though I know it's halfway through the season, it's still so early. And other teams are going to make moves. I would hope the Sixers make a move. There's some stuff out there that's maybe not, giving some optimism for that, for this team improving at the deadline. But I think you have to see where the dust settles there. They're playing really good basketball right now. Let's see what happens. They've kind of already hit some adversity, so that's probably a good thing, right? They kind of got that adversity out of the way and the injuries out of the way early. But I still think there's a lot of season left. I think the East is pretty open. The Celtics are, as Gunnar already said, I think they're kind of the class of the conference. Outside of that, I think this thing is up for grabs. So if they can maybe get into that 2 seed where they can avoid the Celtics until the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that would improve their chances. But there's still so much season left and so many things that can happen that I'm not ready to go all in and say that they can do that. But is it possible? Sure.
Do you think they need to make a move before the trade deadline, or are they cohesive enough right now with the depth and the rotation they have that they can do what they need to do with what personnel already on this roster?
I think they're already a very good team where they are. I would like to see them get another wing. That's much easier said than done because every team's looking for a wing that they can rely on. So I would like to see more depth from that standpoint. I would also like to see them possibly upgrade the backup center position. Montrezl Harrell, yeah, he's had his moments, but I think defensively, he just really you just see the enormous drop off when Joel Embiid comes off the floor, and what that does. And it's clear that Paul Reed,
he's back in the doghouse. Paul
just doesn't have the trust of Doc Rivers. I don't think he has the trust of James Harden too, if I'm speaking frankly. Yeah. Whereas Harrell, I think, does have a little bit more equity built up with Harden. So I would still like to see them upgrade that position as well. But wing is what everyone's after, and I think they should be after it too.
All right, Paul, listen, good stuff, man. I tell everybody, check out your work. Love Liberty Ballers. You do an awesome job. So does the entire crew, man.
Great job, man.
Yeah, and just keep up the good work, man.
Well, hold on. Look at this. Take that picture. All 4 guys have been in the same shop at one time.
Good to see him again. Yeah, good to see him again.
One man still standing. Yes, all 4 have been in the shop. That is correct.
That's very true.
And you can check out Paul's work on Twitter at Paul Hudrick, HUDRICK. And of course, he is the editor-in-chief at Liberty Ballers. Paul, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for a couple minutes.
Appreciate you guys. Anytime.
All right, take care. That is Paul Hudrick. Yeah, man. I think, obviously we want this Eagles season to go for another month-ish, whatever it is, guys, for sure. But once the Eagles end one way or the other, we're going to turn our sights heavy into the Sixers, and they're starting to play really good ball. We'll get an interesting little, test here coming up. After they get off the West Coast swing, guys, they're home for Brooklyn a week from today, and then they have Denver at home right after that. That's a nice little 1-2 test once they get back home from this West Coast swing. So it should be a lot of fun to check that out for sure. And then, of course, Embiid going against the Joker. So that'd be pretty cool as well. All right, so when we come back, it is NFL time, and we're going to get into where some coaches are interviewing, the latest on Sean Payton, Aaron Rodgers, divisional matchups. We'll do the AFC. I'll give you a number, guys, from the Monday night game, even though that game was a mess and a debacle and a beatdown, but some numbers that are going to blow you away from that game. So we will get into that as well. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I'm going to tell you about Razor Technology. And with cyber threats like ransomware on a seemingly endless uptick and the risk of a breach or data loss higher than ever, the need to know just who is accessing your network systems and applications is mission critical. Identity management from Razor Technology is a holistic framework of policies and technologies that lock down access to the right users for only the right reasons. We deploy cutting-edge solutions that identify, authenticate, and monitor access across your entire IT system. Razor Technology determines how users gain an identity in your system, what roles they need to fill, and enforces access controls with network protocols, digital certificates, behavioral analysis, and secure authentication methods. Talk to Razor Technology today to learn how identity management can reduce the risk of data breach while avoiding costly errors and downtime due to lack of access. Contact Razor Technology today at 866-797-3282. That's 866-797-3282, or you can visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Back, hour number 3 on Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on this Wednesday. Again, tomorrow we're going to have Jordan Raynon joining us. Covers the Giants for ESPN.com. Michael Barkan from NBC Sports Philadelphia will be hopping on with us on Friday, just to kind of look ahead a little bit. All right, from today's Eagles practice, guys, before we get into the NFL stuff, good news. Jalen Hurts out there throwing, no restrictions. Josh Sweat working with the ones. Appears to look very energetic from everybody who's seen him, and we know he's coming off that scary injury, but he's good to go. And Lane Johnson also out there and working on every all of his past sets and whatnot. And again, by all accounts, everybody looking good. Keep in mind, this is in sweatpants, and they're not out there tackling, but they're working on their stuff. So good news. Good news. That's all you can really ask for right at this point.
That's all you need to have, man. I mean, everybody run around. This is, they've had a time to rest. Resting is over with. Now it's time to get ready to lock it up again. Get locked and loaded, ready to rock and roll. This is win or go home, and I'm just under the impression that this team understands fully the opportunity in front of them. They know that this is a small window that you have to maximize every type of chance or opportunity you have to get to make it to the big dance. You know what I'm saying? And they're dancing right now. They're dancing. And I think they know they're fully aware of where they are as far as the team and conceptually what they can accomplish with this team. They are the best team in the NFL. Everybody's saying it's the 49. No, it's the Eagles. And usually, it's the best quarterback that usually dictates games, and Jalen Hurts is by far a better quarterback than when you look at Purdy or whatever his name is, or Dak Prescott. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. He's the better of both of those quarterbacks.
You know what I love, Derek? The disdain that Barrett has when you do the comps with the 49ers in particular with Brock Purdy. He gets out and out just like angry, like when I love it, man. I don't like
people talking about us, because this is the best team in the NFL.
Wait, you don't like people talking what?
I don't like when people talk about a team other than the Eagles being the best team in the NFL. I don't like that, you know what I'm saying? Because they've proven that they're the best team in the NFL. They've done everything it takes to be the best team in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Let them, give them that badge, give them that trophy. You know what I'm saying? All right, you're not going to give us the trophy. We're going to go take a trophy. You know what I'm saying? A championship trophy.
But you don't think there's other stories in the NFL about?
No,
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying the Brock Purdy story is an incredible story. The 49ers winning 11 consecutive games is an incredible story. They've done a complete transformation. How many teams can we say historically, you played the game a long time, you watched the game a long time, we watched the game a long time. How many teams can we say are down to their third quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant in a draft? This kid comes from out of nowhere and plays like a seasoned vet. Now, I don't know if he would have that kind of success in another system, but he was taken by the perfect team and put in the perfect system for him. He was seen by the perfect coach that saw something in this kid where they believed they could succeed with this kid. And once he won 1, 2, 3 games, all of a sudden the vets start looking at him like, instead of looking at him like, man, who is this dude? A dude named Brock Purdy, he should be on a farm somewhere, Slougs or something. All of a sudden, he's helping us still roll. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's making the throws Garoppolo made. Okay?
Oh boy, the yawn.
You can say it all you want. I mean,
I've heard that story before, D Gun. I've
heard every story you said before. Every week,
I'm saying this
again.
when you're talking about this story with this guy coming out of nowhere from the fields of Iowa. And
have you ever seen?
I've seen a story. I've seen a story like that, but just not with a rookie. I've seen a story where they've taken a backup quarterback. And the starting quarterback who has MVP aspirations gets knocked out the 13th game of the year. Turned around, this guy comes in, and Nick Foles, a former teammate, a former player, the guys on there, and he turns around and wins the Super Bowl against the best quarterback ever to play the game, outduels that quarterback and wins the Super Bowl. I've seen those type of stories before. I'm talking about the consistency of a team going in. And we'll see. I let you talk. Let me say it. I'm talking about a team that deserves to be in the Super Bowl because they went out and did it the right way, working hard, crossing their T's, dotting their I's, playing fundamentally sound football, understanding the message that not just the head coach is saying, but the quarterback is giving them. It's a time and a place for those type of stories. I love those stories. I mean, they hit me right here. They tug on them heartstrings right here. But I also understand when you're the best team in the NFL, you daggone well start playing like you're the best team in the NFL, and they show you from this point on.
Did I disagree? Through the last weeks, have I disagreed with anything you said along those lines?
No, I did, but I just wanted. I just wanted you to be wrong that time. That's all.
I know exactly what you're doing. That's why I'm not going to let you dupe me. I'm not going to let you dupe. Hey, I've known you too long.
It's entirely. That's the best. That's the best story in the world. But when have we seen a rookie quarterback win a Super Bowl?
Well, what I would really maybe we'll see it this weekend. I don't know, but have we seen Purdy in a spot where he's got to take a team down the field? And I'm asking. I'm not saying.
All right. This is what I'm saying. I'm gonna put it like this. And I'm gonna put it real simple. The Eagles have 7 D sacks. 7 D sacks.
Yep. Third most ever.
So 17 players, and 17 players who were either first team Pro Bowlers or alternates. 17 players.
So
I discount none of that. None of it.
But I'm saying this, Brock Purdy, have we seen him get hit in the mouth time in and time out? Has we seen him, face adversity as far as cornerback that can cover their receivers and their tight ends? Have we seen him be in a situation where they can stop the run and they knock what's his name? They're running back out the game. We haven't seen those opportunities where he had to face and drive a team down by himself. I haven't seen that yet. So I think Dallas is going to give him that opportunity, and I think
that's going to be a good game.
Oh, no question. And I really think that Dak can take him to the prom. Dak can definitely beat him and meet us in Philadelphia.
Let me put it like this: the Dak Prescott who played Monday night against that trash Tampa Bay team, if he plays like that,
they can beat anybody.
They could beat anybody.
Absolutely.
But if Dak plays like he played most of the regular season, Dak going home real quick.
We opened up, I don't know what it is, we opened up a page in this book that's been closed for the past 2 years. Yeah. And that's his ability to run and evade pressure and push the ball down the field still. He wasn't that guy. I don't know where he found it. I don't know. He was up in somebody sent him some cheese. They tried to get some cheesesteak sit down to him or something. He's pissed off and he's playing like that.
Yeah,
I would love to have him in the link 2 weeks from now, battling the Eagles. It would be poetic justice that he comes up. Poetic justice. I'm looking for that matchup. I think Dallas beats that 49er team.
Interesting.
I mean, it's you look at the point spread in the game, just kind of where Vegas, views this thing. San Fran's -4. Take that for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth. You're talking about a team that -4. They're -4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will Dallas play disciplined football?
Yeah,
that's
they
the question.
They step out of character a lot.
Yes, and they argue with each other and everything else.
Yes. You are not going to win a big game if you're distracted by the little things that you should be able to just wash to the side in a fraction of a moment. They like to let stuff linger, and that costs them in a lot of ways.
Well, I think the player that has to play the best is Smith, man. I keep telling you about this Smith, man. Wilson. Donovan Wilson is a player, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
He helps that defense in so many ways with his ability to blitz, number one, but he can also handle, McCaffrey out of the backfield. He can handle him out of the backfield. He can also handle Kittle one-on-one. So that's going to be the matchup I'm anxiously waiting to see. Can Donovan Wilson handle that? Can Curse handle Kittle out the
Kittle.
No. You know what's gonna be on Debo.
The Riverboat Gambler?
Yes. Trayvon Diggs is gonna be
also allergic to contact, by the way.
Man, let me tell you something.
He's a very limited player, man. He'll get a lot of picks.
He
gets torched and he runs from contact.
Yes. Yeah. He's like a poor man's version of Deion Sanders. Deion ain't hit nobody, but he can cover you.
Bro,
he ain't hit nobody.
Deion, and he'll let you know that. Hey, bro, they don't pay me to.
See, Deion can say that. Trayvon Diggs can't say they don't.
No, he can't. No,
Deion one time I pulled around. This is honest to goodness truth, bro. We were playing. It was actually the game. With the when they called the timeout when I thought it was the fifth down and all that. I actually pulled around. It's called 19 Bob, and I had got Bob mean the back on linebacker, back on backer. And I had to pull around. I had to get the widest guy. Well, Deion was the widest guy. So I pulled around, and as I pulled around, I started running towards him. Deion turns around and runs out of bounds. So I got to follow him going over there. I was like, I did like this. He tried to say, big fella. All you had to do was just point at me and tell you had to block me, and I'd have just walked out of bounds. I said, what you mean by that? He said, big dog, you a rookie too? So I know you could be a little over anxious, So we looked at the game plan to you. You're a little overly anxious when you go out there blocking. He said, number one, they don't pay me to tackle. Number two, they definitely don't pay me to take on blocks. I am a coverage corner. I said, all right. He said, next time you got to block me, just point at me. I know, hey, you got me. Hey, you got me. You got me.
See, here's what I think the big difference is in that Dallas 49ers game. I think the 49ers can cover Dallas' weapons better than Dallas can cover the 49ers' weapons across the board. I think the 49ers have better personnel to cover Dallas's weapons than Dallas has to cover the 49ers' weapons.
Yeah.
No, you can't say covers. You could say, I would more so say they have the better front seven that could handle, they could handle Dallas running the ball, maybe, and the interior of the defense, because Kittle versus what's his name? What's that linebacker's name?
For who?
Fred Warner.
Yeah,
Warner,
for the Niners. Yep.
Fred Warner could handle Schultz. Fred Warner could handle, I think, Dallas's running backs out of the backfield if they send them out on like pass plays, like one-on-one, Tony Pollard versus Fred Warner. That could be a wash. You know what I'm saying? Fred Warner versus Schultz could be a wash. You know what I'm saying? Because he could handle both of those guys in coverage. We all know that, whenever you put that man out there, Nick Bosa, against either one of the two tackles, Teron Smith, the rookie Jalen Smith, or whatever his name, not Jalen Smith, but Tyler Smith.
Yeah.
And also, going against Jason Peters. That's a win in their book. But other than that, I can't say them. Drake Greenlaw is just okay. He's a serviceable linebacker. The only guy that really, they don't have an answer for, that Dallas doesn't have an answer for, is Hufanga.
Yeah,
Hufanga is
that safety on the back end. Oh yeah,
Hufanga makes it happen.
Well, let's put it like this. Dallas, let's see, CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown, Michael Gallup, Dalton Schultz, George Kittle, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey. Who are you more fearful of? What group are you way more fearful of?
It's San Fran for me.
That's not for me, bro.
Ain't even close. It's not even close. B. Brooks, come on, man. No, wait. I know what you're trying to do. You ain't get me today. Today is hump day. You can't get me today. You can't get me. Digas 2023. You can't get me. You're not going to get me today, bro. Tell you that right now.
How about, did you see the numbers for the Monday night game, even though it was trash? The Cowboys and the Bucks game. So ESPN drew a $30.6 million or 30.6 million viewers, which is the most they've gotten for a playoff game since 1999.
Wow.
Not bad. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Wow.
Pretty
Wait till you see Dallas Eagles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I will tell you, this weekend will crush. I mean, the Eagles and the Giants with those two markets, it's going to be explosive. And that late game is going to do well too. San Fran and Dallas too. The NFC is going to be off the charts. They're
this weekend. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think both matchups. I mean, both conferences.
Oh,
I mean, you know what I mean?
Saying from a market perspective.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, because the much larger markets are in the NFC. You're right in that regard.
But, the NFC East representing, baby.
But when you talk about Doug Peterson going up against his former mentor, Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, two of the young guns of today and tomorrow. I mean, NFL, man, let me tell you something. NFL is one of the best storyline writers in pro sports, period.
No question. No question. I mean, nobody maximizes their potential more than the NFL.
Oh,
nobody does.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
I mean, it's like they just self-write themselves.
It is amazing with that league. It's why it can get away with a lot of nonsense. It's Teflon because there's so many other areas that are just amazing. All right, let's dive into some of the other things. The Panthers are going to interview Sean Payton on Friday. Panthers have had kind of a weird go here. There have been a couple coaches that have said thanks, but no thanks.
Like who? I mean,
and I wonder why.
Who declined? It was two coaches declined, right? Who were they?
Ben Johnson, who's with the Lions. He's staying put, actually. Ben Johnson interviewed with Houston and Indianapolis. He was going to interview with Carolina and said no. So that wasn't just a Carolina thing. That was, hey, I'm just staying where I am. I'm happy where I'm at. That's a big, big win for Detroit that guy's staying in place. Yeah.
That dude had a number 5 offense in the NFL. He's thinking, do I want to go under the microscope of trying to rebuild what's down there, or do I want to keep trying to enhance what we have? And most of those players are coming back.
Right.
So they're right there. I mean, Jared Goff had the season of a lifetime, and you look at the emergence of the receivers, Jamal Williams, to go along with DeAndre Swift in the backfield, a decent offensive line. He's got everything he wants right there, except a head coaching title. And if he does the same thing next year, there's going to be 5 or 6 jobs open again next year. He'll probably have a better, pick of the litter, let's say, to choose from next year in 2024 compared to 23.
Well, the thing I did want to see if he left, would they have elevated Deuce to the offensive coordinator?
Right. I don't think so. Right.
No?
I don't think so. Huh. I don't know what it is about Deuce. When he's interviewed, he has not gotten jobs. Deuce is a footballer for life. I don't know what it is about him, but I don't see it because I guess I haven't seen it. He's always been pigeonholed into a position coach. I don't know if he could have had that offense just as explosive or creative. That's not a knock against Deuce. Deuce is my dude, I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe the league is pigeonholed him. Maybe decision makers have pigeonholed him, which will cost him in the long run. But, Deuce is an excellent football coach, period.
Well, he'll always have a job, put it like that. But
yes.
Deuce has aspirations of being a head coach.
Yes.
Maybe he needs to go to college and get their stamp of approval first, being a head coach in college. Then he'll make the jump to the NFL. Maybe that's just it's messed up that you even got to think like that.
I know.
It's really messed up.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see what ends up happening there, but it looks like Johnson's going to be staying in place. So Sean Payton will interview Friday with Carolina. Now, he's already interviewed with the Texans and the Broncos. Am I missing anybody?
Denver, Texans, Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. That was the other one.
Yeah.
That was the other one. So you would figure it probably after this one, he's going to make a decision if he is going to jump back in. I do wonder, does he sit one more year, stay in LA, keep doing TV, waiting for that Chargers job to open up?
I don't know.
And or McVay to step away and he jumps in with the Rams if he wants to stay in LA that bad.
I don't know, but here's the bigger thing. The decision is not his, whether he gets back into head coaching or not.
Yeah.
The decision is out of his hands.
Oh, yeah, because of the right.
What are the Saints asking? That may turn off everybody who could potentially want Sean Payton. I mean, he may not coach this year because we don't know exactly what New Orleans is asking yet.
True.
Now, how does that all work?
Like, what?
How does that all work? Is he he's not getting paid by them, right? Because he decided
he walked. He's not getting paid by the Saints. However, because his deal wasn't up, you have to give whatever team signs him compensation.
Yep.
That team has to give them compensation.
Yeah.
Right, but what if he had like 2 more years on his contract? He waited those 2 years, then he could go.
I believe he's a free agent then. Then he could go.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because they're not paying. I can see if they were paying him, but since they're not paying him, why would he have to wait if they're not paying him?
Because I think he had like 3 years at least left on that deal, so we still would have been under that umbrella or that window, of time. That's a good question though, Barrett. I don't know. I don't know the answer, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure, 100%.
See, I don't know if Denver has the capital to even be a serious player. I mean, Denver traded away a lot of his capital. I don't know if Denver has the capital to do it.
I don't think they do.
Just Arizona, just Carolina,
Yeah, and there's reports that they won a 1 and a 3. That's a lot, man.
Well, Houston is probably the only team right now that has that cachet to do it. They got a bunch of bunch of ones for
true, they do
for their for their quarterback.
Yeah, they're set for the next couple of years.
Right.
In terms of draft capital, if I'm Carolina and if I only have, Carolina right now sitting in a 9 hole in the first round.
Yep.
I'm not giving up that 1. I mean, as much as I want Sean Payton, I need a quarterback more so than I need that head coach.
Right.
Because if you get the head coach and you give up that 1, that means where are you going to get your quarterback from? You go back next year with the same stuff you just came out of a season with. If there's potentially another Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts sitting there at that point, I need that quarterback to build his team around first and foremost.
Yeah, I'm
I can find a decent head coach. I can find an offensive mind to work with him.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So the Titans have hired Rand Carthon as their general manager. He was formerly director of player personnel with the Niners. Worked with John Lynch and that crew. He is the son of Maurice Carthon, who played for the Giants,
linebacker,
and other teams in the NFL. But so he's taken over for John Robinson, who they let go during the season. And not an easy job. Like there's talent there, but quarterback questions. Derrick Henry another year older, collapsed last year. But I think he has a good coach in place in Vrabel.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The 49ers also get 2 third-round compensatory picks for this move.
For the Rooney Rule. Yeah, part of it's
unbelievable.
Wow.
I mean, fifth, sixth round, third round's a valuable pick.
Third round's high, man.
That's a valuable pick.
For 23 and 24 season, they get a third rounder. Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
I know. Aaron Rodgers still mulling retirement. He was on with Pat McAfee and their crew. I know. Here's the. It's going to sound contradictory. I bring it up because I want him to go away. I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to it's like he's exhausting.
I don't want to hear him talking about it. It depends on, is the team going in the same direction I want to go in? I don't want to be a part of a rebuilding process. Do I still have the desire to play the game? I have to figure that out. You already know. Let me tell you something. If you get over $50 million next year to play football, man, if a doctor told me I got to play on one leg, I'm getting out to get that $50 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'd make Barry Brooks disappear for $50 million. I call people, hey man, I got a job for you.
Right.
I give you $1 million to make this person disappear. $50 million. Now he doesn't need the money, but still.
I
How
know.
many people are going to leave $50 million sitting on a table, man?
I guess extremely rich people. I don't know. I don't
Now,
know.
if you force their hand, the first thing I'm thinking, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I want to go to Vegas. I'm back with Devontae Adams. I got Hunter Renfrow. I got Darren Wall. I got everything in Vegas that they would never give me in Green Bay.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go, is Vegas.
Yeah, I still feel Brady is more likely, but Aaron Rodgers is not out of the question.
True. You're right.
Not out of the question.
I don't know. Brady might not be after what he did Monday
Woo!
night.
Maybe, maybe. That was
people
bad.
might be like, Brady the GOAT, but that GOAT's beard is getting a little bit longer than we thought it was. And, I don't know about this one. Hey, Rodgers, how's that arm? And so,
it's true.
But here's it. Rob Gronkowski says Aaron Rodgers should be more concerned about winning another Super Bowl more so than winning another MVP.
Damn. Okay, Gronk.
I'm like, Gronk? Whoa, because Rodgers did say on the show, I think I can win another MVP. And Gronk said, wait a minute, you should be more concerned about winning the Super Bowl than the MVP. He's got what, 3, 4?
Interesting.
How many more MVP? What's an MVP going to do for you?
At this point, yeah, what difference does it make?
Yeah, right. It's the ring, baby. It's the ring.
Him. Yeah.
All about the ring.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Gronk chiming in. Hey, Gronk, don't count Gronk out too if Brady goes to Vegas. That you could have him and Waller together.
Ooh.
That could be interesting too.
Man.
All right, let's look at the AFC matchups here, guys. We got the Saturday 4:30 Chiefs -8.5 Jags, and then the Sunday 3:00 Bills -5.5 Bengals. We had Matt Lombardo on yesterday, which I thought was interesting from Heavy on Sports, and he thinks the Jags win the game outright. Not
right.
cover.
That was a little Jimmy said us.
I was like, whoa.
A little
I
what?
thought about it, a little Jim, man, because I thought about it. I was kind of downplaying what I've seen Coach Peterson do before. I mean, Doug has done exactly what he's about to do. He's beaten Brady at the highest level. What makes me think that he doesn't have an opportunity, a fighter's chance of doing the same thing in Jacksonville against Andy Reid
and
Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, in Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. He's got a young quarterback who believes in himself. Coming off the win and the manner in which they won that game, that is huge momentum and confidence boost for that young team. That is huge. Doug's saying, you know what I told you? If we don't give up, if we play our game, we can hang with anybody.
Right.
That is huge coming up for this game against Kansas City, man. Who knows? Who knows? Now, trying to beat Patrick Mahomes in Mahomes' backyard, that's a monumental feat right there in itself.
Yeah.
It's been done before, but they got everything you need.
Well, I mean, Cincinnati's been doing it.
Yeah.
They've been doing it.
I'll say this. I'll give you the upset for me. I kind of like the Bengals over the Bills.
Wow. That's another, because the Bills didn't show me anything.
No.
Overly, overly.
I did not like that performance against the Dolphins, man.
No.
At all.
Game was too close.
If they can protect a little bit, Burrow, I think Burrow's going to do some damage. I know Buffalo's the feel good, and I would like to see Buffalo get to the Super Bowl. I would. I like McDermott. I like a lot of people there, and obviously with DeMar Hamlin and by the way, Hamlin has been in the facility just working out and doing some other things almost every day, so that's awesome. But I'm just telling you what my gut's telling me. I kind of like the Bengals a little bit right now.
Well, another reason why I'm thinking that they matched the Ravens' physicality. They matched it player for player, and they actually have a better passing game than probably most of the NFL. With the weapons that they have, they're going to put up some numbers.
They are,
and they'll be able to run the ball to get a little bit of that stress off of off the offense's back. They can run the ball pretty efficiently. Wow.
I don't know the thing about that game because I didn't like the way Cincinnati played. They needed a fluke play to get over the hump.
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit.
Baltimore held them to 17 points offensively.
That's why I'm saying the line scares their offensive line. I don't mean the point spread. I mean their offensive line worries.
Well, yeah, but you think about the quality of defense they played against. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that linebacker tandem with Queen and
Roquan.
Roquan, yeah.
Smith. That's they're effective. They're outside guys. They're cornerbacks. Pretty damn good. They're safety. He's not playing like a rookie right now. They got him in the slot. He's playing like a safety slot type of player.
Yeah. You
know, so they know what they're doing, man. This will be this. Just like you said, man. The NFL has done it again.
It's unbelievable. I'll give you some more. Let me give you some more numbers. 33.2 million viewers for the Giants Vikings game on Fox.
Jeez.
Wow.
So they got 33.2. The Monday night game got 30.6 on ESPN. Monstrous numbers.
It shows you, man. Even just a casual observer, you got to watch football, man. You know why? Because it's once a week, and the storyline, Brady versus Dak. You know, the hype machine the NFL cranks out weekly. You know, they should be winning Oscars for this stuff.
They do.
This stuff, how they hype it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think too, like, especially in this day and age, with how saturated TV is, with all the streaming options that you have.
Yes.
Getting these kind of numbers are why the networks pay these insane numbers for these sports, because you can't do it anywhere else. Like back in the day, you could watch a series finale of MASH and there'd be 50 million people watching it. That's done. That's over.
Yep.
People are just split all over the place, but sports can still draw. Not everything draws this kind of number, but these kind of numbers. It's only sports.
Well, it just goes to show you why the NFL gets annually $10 billion a year just from TV contracts alone.
Yeah.
And that's for like for the next 20 years.
Right.
$10 billion a year.
I know.
Why you think that's why you think why did you guys think that, you know, Washington's owners like, man, no, this is my cash cow.
Yeah, right.
You know,
he doesn't want to give it up. He knows.
He's
a license to print money. He knows.
Yeah, but now if somebody's going to offer them $4 or $5 billion, Daniel Snyder, take your money, live on your mansion hacienda in Virginia, and call it a career. You've done way too much damage. Nobody's going to support you. Please free us and let us go in a new direction, new stadium, new practice facility, new direction. Please free us from your tyranny, Dan Snyder.
He says it's tyranny.
Hey, Kevin asks a good question. Did you rub it in? We didn't get into this. Did you call up Marvin and rub it in after the Vikings?
He messed up my mojo, man.
What happened?
As soon as the game was over, he's texting me and my cousin Malcolm. He goes, we didn't deserve this win. I'm like, what?
Oh, he preemptively. That was smart. He preemptively.
The Vulcan mind trick.
Yeah.
Took my joy.
Oh,
man. What do you mean by that?
We need a new defensive coordinator. We need, and I'm thinking, you stole my thunder.
Wow.
I told you, and the only thing I can say, Robin Barrett, is this. I said, I told you in December, Ed Donatell's defense would be your Achilles heel. I told you when Kirk Cousins doesn't play at 1 o'clock, he's not the same quarterback, even though he had a decent game. I told you the Vikings historically find a way to lose big games. All those things fell into place. That's all I had. That was in one text, and that was it. He was agreeable everywhere else. I was like,
sucks. You couldn't have any fun with him at all.
What?
Right. I'm thinking, bro, I'm looking at that, and I can remember going into that week, you were talking about, I hate the defensive coordinator. I hate the defensive coordinator. Because he was the defensive coordinator when I was in when I played for the Packers.
Yes.
And you reminded me of how average he was back then. I'm like,
yes.
You're right, bro. You're right.
He had one really good season in Green Bay, and after that, he was exposed, and they got rid of him real quick within the next year or two, I believe it was. But everywhere he's gone, you look at him, everywhere he's gone, he may have 1 year, and all of a sudden he's exposed. I don't know why he refuses to come out of that crap zone defense he plays. A lot of teams that like to play zone, they'll mix in some man. Not this dude. He's going to play that zone defense from start to finish, and it caught up to him finally. But, me, Miranda said, you know what? You got to be quicker, D-Gun. You're right. He caught me off guard. It won't happen again. I promise you this. It'll never happen again.
He's always a step ahead, man. Marvin's always playing mind game. He's playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers.
Man,
right. That was pretty innovative by him.
I got to give it to him. Yeah.
I'm still hurt by this. You know what? I'm depressed now.
Yeah, you might have maybe just to get him next week out of nowhere when he's not expecting it. You just call him up or text him. All right, let's get a timeout. We'll come back. We'll swing it back to the Eagles, and we'll also give you some birthdays, some movies. I have an on this date for you guys as well. So we have a lot more in store. Don't go anywhere. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, D Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, right back.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Welcome back, everybody. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Final segment of the show. Derek, Barrett, and Rob. Pass this one along. Chris Ford, who was a great player for Villanova, played a long time in the NBA, coached in the NBA for a long time. In fact, hit the very first three-pointer in the history of the NBA when they went to the three-point line, passed away at the age of 72. So condolences to Chris Ford and his family. He grew up in South Jersey, went to Holy Spirit High School outside of Atlantic City. So
Wow.
sad one, too young. So passing that along. All right, I have a good on this date for you guys. In 1975, TV show. Let's see if you guys can guess it. A TV show that debuted, sitcom that debuted in 1975 on this day.
All in the family.
1975.
Close.
Dang it. Jeffersons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spin-off of All in the Family.
Yeah,
Derek.
that's right. That's right.
Yes, and one of the great theme songs ever. Moving
Oh,
on
no
up.
question
Oh
about
my
that.
goodness.
And you know who sang that?
Who?
Oh yeah. She played Walona from Good Times.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Look at
Yes.
you, Gunner. Yeah,
Yes.
Walona from Good Times
Yep.
sang the Jeffersons theme. But
Wow.
Yeah, pretty.
Periodically that comes up, that era of TV,
Right.
and what Norman Lear, a white guy, risked at that point when America was still very fragile with racism across America. What he did with All in the Family, Good Times, Maude, all these shows was a lot of ways revolutionary in television. I mean, when you think about the barriers he crossed, words that were used in those shows that were words you didn't use in everyday conversations.
Yep.
And every show he produced just ate up the ratings. You know, it just
despite taking all kinds of heat for it. So censors and public backlash from a minority. I don't mean color. I mean a small amount of people. And the people responded to what he was doing because it was real stuff that was happening in real lives. It wasn't the usual leave it to Beaver and how was your day, honey? No, it was like real stuff. It was real stuff.
It was,
you know what I mean?
It was comedy mixed with real life scenarios.
It was.
And if you looked at how some of those ended, some of the controversial topics ended. I remember one in particular. It was the Jeffersons. When George and his family found out that the KKK was holding meetings in the basement they lived in. And it was George who had to go, the guy who was the head of that organization, he was holding a meeting and he had a heart attack there. And it was George who went down there and saved him, did CPR on him and saved him. And when the guy's son said, Dad, he saved your life. And he looked at George and said, you should have let me die. And everybody, whoa. Wow.
Heavy.
You
It's
talk
heavy,
about
man.
a powerful state, but that's what America was.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways, still is today in a lot of cases.
Right.
But the storylines Norman Lear crossed, it was
incredible.
Man.
Incredible.
And I tell you what, even when I see him now, if I see the Jeffersons on or All in Fame, I'll still watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Still
It
watch
holds up. I mean, it's amazing. It's 40, whatever it is, 40, almost 50 years for some of this stuff. And it's still, it is crazy, man. It is crazy. All right, let's hit a couple birthdays and then we'll swing it back to the Eagles here. Kevin Costner is 68 years old today.
Okay. You guys watch Yellowstone?
I watched like the first
season,
3 seasons, I think. I think in season 4 or 5.
Something like that. I watched the first 2 and then I stopped watching it. My wife still watches it. And that's one of those series. Think about how many series you watch. When they get past the first or second season, if you don't watch the rest, you're like, okay.
I'm there. That's me. I was kind of done.
But this is what I'm thinking. Every time I walk past the TV and they're watching it downstairs, I'm like, doggone it, I need to get caught up on this series. It's a very well-written series.
Yeah, it is. And it's done very –
I haven't even started it yet, so.
Yeah.
Barry, you'd like it, man.
You would like that. You would like Yellowstone.
Yeah. Yeah, you would. Dave Bautista, who was a wrestler turned actor. Who's had a really successful career now as in both genres, I guess. Turned 54 today.
Yeah, he's become a real good actor,
Guardian of the Galaxy.
Yeah, like quality stuff too. Cary Grant, the old actor, he got an honorary Oscar in 1970, I think, was born on this day in 1904. Jason Segel, who was in a lot of stuff, How I Met Your Mother, one of the series that he was in, is 43 today. All right, do you guys know who A.A. Milne is?
No. A.A. Milne. Wait a minute.
Born on this day
I
in
know that name.
1882.
I know that name. Author? Was
author of Winnie the Pooh, among other things.
That's it.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
A.A. Milne, born on this day in 1882. Oliver Hardy, the actor, went from like silent films into other stuff, was born on this day in 1892. We're getting some old ones. I I hear you, but if Danny Kaye was born on this day in 1911. Danny Kaye. The actor Jesse L. Martin, who's been in a ton of stuff, including Law and Order, a lot of Broadway stuff, who was born this day 54 years ago. He's 54 today.
Yep.
Leonard Fournette, Playoff Lenny, who wasn't exactly Playoff Lenny, is 28 years old.
I can't believe he's only 28, man. He seems like he's been in the league a long time. Right?
That dude look old, man.
He may not be playing in his 30s. I will just say that.
Right. I think all them hits making him look old.
Yeah. David Ruffin, the great singer musician, born on this day in 1941.
Temptations, baby.
Yeah, lost him way too young. I think he was was he 50? He was like maybe his late 40s and around 50 when he passed away. Julius Peppers, great two-sport athlete in college, and then played
at Carolina.
Carolina, man, yeah, like hoops and football at Carolina.
And that's something. He's number 5. He's number 5 all time on the SAG list. Hasn't gotten
played a really long time. He
played 18 seasons. He played from I wrote that. I was like, what? He played from 02 to 18, so 17 seasons.
That's crazy. That's a long time in that league at that position. Yes. He's 43. Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, is
$1 Million Man.
One of my favorites.
Today. Yeah, he was great. He was awesome. 69 today. Mark Messier, 62. They teamed up with Wayne Gretzky for so many years, and a great player in his own right. Won a cup without Gretzky in New York with the Rangers in 1994. Kurt Flood, born on this day, 1938. Kurt Flood, every single baseball player and pretty much basketball and football players should get down on their hands and knees and thank this guy for what he did for free agency. Big deal. And he went through a lot of crap. He got blackballed. Owners didn't like him. He went on a pretty tough life. And another guy passed away a little too young. So Kurt Flood on this day, 1938. That's all I got birthdays. What do you guys have?
You got T. Higgins. You got that?
T. Higgins. You're a good one.
T. Higgins.
24 today. A Democrat representative, Elijah Cummings.
Yes.
Passed away past couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Angela Winbush. 68 years old. Let me see, who else was it? I think Mike Lieberthal.
Levy. Former Philly.
Yeah,
great guy. Great guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And DJ Quick. 53 years old.
Yep.
Everybody wants to know the truth about a brother named Quick. Born and raised in Compton.
That's funny, man. Very good, Barry.
You have Angelique Kerber, who was ranked the #1 tennis player in the world. She won 3 major titles.
Okay.
Kelly Roybal played in Ocean's 8 and Yellowstone. She's in Yellowstone.
Okay.
And this one I didn't know too well. Karen Brar, 24-year-old actress. I can't think of the movie. I wrote it down and scribbled it out. The movie she was in, but her as well.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
All right. Movies, a couple hit here. Animal House, this day, 1978.
Oh, classic.
Belushi and the crew, one of the all-timers. So that was 78. Fistful of Dollars, 1967, with Clint Eastwood.
Yep.
Snow Dogs, 2002.
Love that movie.
It was really funny movie. It was good.
Yeah, it was.
Cute movie. Cuba Gooding Jr. in that one. 2014 Flowers in the Attic. And that's all I got for the movies. I didn't see a ton.
You missed a big one. Glass, 2019. Samuel L. and Bruce Willis.
Oh, that is a great movie.
Great one.
I never knew. I watched that one first. I'm watching it. My wife and my kids.
Was that M. Night Shyamalan? I'm trying to remember if that one was.
Yes.
And I'm watching my kids, and I'm like, and then they start talking about it's a sequel. I said, "What are you talking about?" And they said, well, "I forgot what the first one was called." And Dad, you never watched the first one? No.
The first one was he's on it's what's his name?
What was the name of that movie?
Oh my goodness. And he's like the counter of
yes.
Oh, what was it?
I can't think of the name of it. I never saw the first, never heard of the first one until I saw Glass. So I had to go back and watch the first one to understand Glass. And then Cloverfield.
Unbreakable. That's it right there.
Unbreakable. There you go. Thank you, Dank.
Yes.
And then Cloverfield was a pretty good movie, 2008.
Yeah. When they had a camera going through and
kind of weird, but
yeah. No, it's good. That is
good.
good.
Put camera in Bear's house, man. Follow him around.
I don't think so.
You put you would see some stuff. You would definitely see some stuff. Like that's why Barrett act that way. They act crazier than him. That's what it is.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here, man.
All right. So the
Oh,
good
man.
news here, guys. Practice today for the Eagles. You had Lane Johnson, and this will be the most physical practice of the week because normally that's Thursday, but with the Saturday game, this will be the most physical practice that he'll go through. Jalen Hurts, other than the ball security drill where they fall onto like the padding, he kind of just fell on his back. He didn't fall on his right shoulder. All right, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But he was a full go. Lane was a full go. Josh Sweat, full go. It appears, other than Maddox, that they're about as healthy as you could be. I mean, if you think about it, and I consider Maddox a starter.
Yep.
I don't consider Derek Barnett to have been a starter, but
Right.
they have every starter available except for Maddox.
What would you say, Derek Barnett?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Remember that
no,
guy?
you did. No,
Although
you
he
did.
did get the ultimate fumble recovery. Gotta
You
give him
say he
that.
practiced?
No. I'm saying other than him, they essentially have everybody ready. Like everybody's
Right.
good
Oh,
except for
okay.
Maddox.
Except for
You
Maddox.
said he
No.
practiced. I'm like,
Embarrassing.
what?
Derek Barnett. What?
Don't say that. No, don't say that.
But I mean,
Penalty
Oh,
Barnett.
we can use him though. Derek Barnett, he just be having those boneheaded problems, but he can mix it up still, man.
That dude get more penalties than sacks. Do you want him on the field?
That's what I said. I mean,
I was surprised they brought him back.
for
have
$5
too.
million.
Yeah. I don't get it.
That's awesome.
The fact that he came back, that goes to show you how frugal the market was towards him. If he took what the Eagles offered him to come back
Right.
as a former first-round draft pick. Yeah. Obviously, there was no big money offers out there for him. And he said, you know what? What are the Eagles offering? Take it. Take it.
Yeah.
You better take it.
Yeah, it's tough, man. If I don't blame him, I would grab everything you can get. But again, that's encouraging sign here for the Eagles. If you're getting these people back, I mean, you need, Sweat, and that looked bad initially. Good sign. We know with Lane Johnson, we know with Jalen what this has been like. But to have all your resources available for you as you go into this thing, man. I would venture to say healthier than any team probably in football right now.
I agree 100%, which is phenomenal for this time of year.
Hard to do, right? And you're coming off a bye week, which is great. And not only are you coming off a bye week, the Giants are coming off of 6 days rest, right? Giants played Sunday.
Yeah.
So there's some advantages at play. You're at your place as well, but can't count on all that kind of stuff. One of the things we're going to get into tomorrow a little bit is on this date, 20 years ago, it was the last game at the Vet where everything set up perfectly for the Eagles. They were playing a team that didn't play well in cold weather.
Oh, man.
Yikes. And it did not work out well. So you got to go out there and still make plays, man.
The
What do
ghost
you do?
is still running down I-95.
I know. Let me ask you guys, if you're Shane Steichen or Nick Sirianni or whomever is going to make the final call on this as you script the first however many plays. I know some of this is dictated on field position. If you got to turn over and you had short field, it might be different. But do you come out right away and call a run play for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Just to establish to him, not only himself, like to Jalen, but also to the Giants, like, get used to it. This is what it's going to be today.
Absolutely. You setting the tone. You letting them know this is our guy. He's ready to go. And I'm sure Jalen just wants to get that first hit. Like when you're an injured player and you're going to have some reservation about the injury that you have. So when you go out there, it's not as though, you're not thinking about it. You're thinking about it. You're literally thinking about it. You're like, man. But once you get that first hit, once you get that out the way, like, oh, man, I survived. Then you can go on about your business. You can go on about playing at the level you're playing at. It takes till after that first hit for you to really realize that, okay, then I'm ready to mix it up now. I can go ahead and fight now. And it's not only gonna set the tone with how the Giants look at it, but it's also gonna set the tone within himself. Like, all right, I'm ready to rock. It's gonna take that first time that Lane Johnson has to sit down on a bull rush, lock out, and show that his groin is strong enough to take the punishment of going against the Thibodeau. It's gonna take all those things, so it'll be out of your mind. Like, all right. Now I'm back to business. Now I'm ready to play football. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my first play, fake a stretch run to Miles Sanders, curl back, set up 7 yards in the pocket, and go deep. Catch the Giants napping. Catch them napping. AJ, I want you to go streaking down this way. Devontae, whichever one of y'all see open first, that's where I'm coming.
Sort of a little TO when he first got here.
Yes,
the deep
D-Jacks.
Dude, let me tell you, that house will rock off its foundation if they first. They get the kickoff, touchback. They set up at 25. Everybody's thinking stretch run to Miles. Wait, Miles doesn't have the ball. Jalen curls back, plants his foot. Zing, ding, 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 ding. AJ 5 yards behind the defender. Devontae 7 yards behind the defender. That house will go nuts.
I like it.
That's my first play of the game.
Setting the tone.
Yeah, I can't argue that. That's good.
Play.
I just didn't know if you. I almost wanted that play call, because the initial one I said to tell Jalen, show Jalen, hey, I'm okay, and show the Giants like it's going to be this all day. But I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind a deep shot. Yeah,
there you go.
Set it off.
That sets the tone. Hey man, Jalen's shoulder is okay, man. You see how far he threw that ball?
All right, I have one request on your play call. Make it Devontae, not Quez Watkins.
No, that's why I said AJ or Devontae. Yeah, I didn't say Quez.
All right.
Now, Quez, look here.
I don't want a perfectly thrown ball dropped or something like that. I can't handle that.
I'll say, Quez, we'll come to you in the third quarter. Just be patient. Once we build up a double-digit lead, we'll come to you in the third quarter.
Or it's, hey, Quez, just keep doing your thing, man. We'll see how it shakes out.
Just keep running routes. You'll be all right. Just keep running.
Exactly.
You'll be good.
Oh, my God. All right. That's going to do it. So, again, tomorrow we're going to have Jordan Renan from ESPN, who covers the Giants. We'll talk to him. Michael Barkan coming up on Friday. But we will continue to gear you up for this game on Saturday between the Giants and the Eagles. And again, it'll be an 8:15 kickoff right here in South Philadelphia. That's for sure. All right. I want to thank Xander Krause producing the program. Everybody in the chat section, you guys are the best as always. We do appreciate it. Everybody streaming, everybody listening. Gents, we will get together and do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel.
I'll try to make it.
You'll try. And maybe you got to stay tuned for the next 3 hours. You got Dan Silio in the National Football Show. Maybe he will explain some of those Italian words that were being thrown out there a little bit earlier. Oh, Gunner's got his Red Hots too. Oh, look at you. You're occupied for the rest of the afternoon.
I'm so happy.
Look at the look on his face.
Right.
It's unbelievable. He's tearing
up.
That's
the most he smiles since he's been on the show today.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's not true.
All right. Well, enjoy your chips. And Barrett, Derek, have a great rest of your day. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Thanks for watching.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm Managing Director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook